Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Now let's start the fanfic. My mentors once said to me that one of the reasons why they took on disciples was so that they could see them grow as a person. It filled their hearts with pride to see them grow in both maturity and skills. I've never understood that, until now. I've only begun to realize just how amazing it was to see Hanabi grow under my guidance. If I didn't actually witness this with my very own eyes, I would have called my mentors pathological liars, but damn, the level of confidence and skill that she was displaying continued to astound me every day. Maybe her dream of winning the competition wasn't such a dream after all. For the past 2 weeks, we worked non-stop on her weak points, mostly her ninjutsu and taijutsu. I wasn't worried about how many techniques she knew. Instead, we focused more towards building up her chakra reserves. Of course, me pointing that out caused her to lose her temper and resulted in some epic death threats, but she eventually acknowledged that fact. Just like how Ero Sennin taught me, it was always about the fundamentals. You need to get back to the basics in order to improve yourself. I had her doing chakra exercises for the first 3 days before telling her to work on her taijutsu style. While her main form was that of the gentle fist, she took what she knew and combined it with Anko's hubby style, causing it to be more unpredictable and destructive, but in my eyes, that still wasn't enough. She needed to be able to fight every battle like it was her last, and in order to properly motivate her, I created 20 clones, telling them to go at her with the intent to be more like water. Hanabi, I yelled to her. Water doesn't stop for anything. It bows to no one, nor does it ever stop. It is forever moving, peaceful and calm in small amounts but disastrous in large quantities. A sadistic smile appeared on my face as I saw a hint of fear in her eyes. Who wouldn't? With that many clones coming towards you with the Rasengan, I would be amazed if the person didn't shit their pants right there. Hanabi let out a small scream before leaping away. I hate you, Naruto. I'll get you for this. She yelled as she leapt from tree to tree. That was also another thing about her. She started calling me by my first name. I tried not to read too much into this, but just hearing her say my name, even with contempt and revenge, still managed to bring a small smile to my face. It's true what they say. It's the smallest things that make you smile, and I couldn't agree more. I wonder how long it would take her to dispatch my clones. 20, 30 minutes. I hope they don't really scar her for life. She really has come a long way. I closed my eyes and started to concentrate, gathering enough natural energy to fully enter sage mode. With it slowly flowing into me, my sensory projection expanded, sensing everything within a 350-meter radius. I could hear the sounds of birds flying away from the trees, hear the heavy panting of one Hanabi Hyuga running away, and the sounds of my clones dispersing as she took them out one by one. Smart girl, leading them to fight one at a time instead of taking them all once. I guess all those strategic lessons were finally paying off. 15 minutes later. Ha. How do you do this every day? Hanabi asked as she plopped down to the ground, facing the sky. I shrugged my shoulders. I wasn't going to tell her that I train longer than most people, accomplishing feats that no normal human should be able to do. I think she was expecting an answer, so I gave her one that I usually tell to most people. I just do. Straightforward and simple. Then can I ask you a personal question, Naruto? She asked, tilting her head to one side. I mean, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Go ahead. I hesitantly replied. Even though we're training partners here, I still don't feel comfortable with her enough to be telling her all this. I didn't want her knowing more than she had to, because not even Ba-chan knew about half the shit that went on with my life. Why do you do it? What's driving you to keep on living to see tomorrow? A small sigh escaped my lips and I ran my hands through my blonde locks. It's Complicated. Hanabi. She pushed herself up, trying to get a better look at my face. I wanted to tell her that the reason why I got up every day was because I kept hoping that one day, everything will be forgiven. I would be welcomed back with opened arms and warm smiles. Even if it was just a small glimmer of hope. I didn't want to give that dream up. Try me, she said. We're all human, Naruto. It's okay to take a step back once in a while to breathe. There's no rule that says that we have to constantly be in motion. I chuckled, shaking my head, and when did you become so wise, huh? Hanabi smiled and stuck her tongue out. I'm a genius, remember? I'm supposed to be the brains and you're supposed to be the brawn. I think and you react. With the way she was acting, I could tell that she was flirting with me. The way she touched my arm ever so slightly and the way her eyes widened whenever I took off my shirt. It just boggled the mind as to how she could fall for someone like me. I couldn't give her the things that she deserved. Things like fancy jewelry and expensive gifts and basically, just giving her the best things out of life. I'm sure that her other suitors might be able to do so much more than me, which was why I keep telling myself not to fall for her, but she's making it pretty damn hard not to. I gave her a small smile in return, before getting up. I could see the sun setting from the horizon and that signaled that her training was over. Just another 2 weeks before the tournament began. It's time to go, Hanabi. I don't want you getting back home too late. I answered, disrupting the moment that we were having on purpose. I didn't want her to become too comfortable with me. She definitely deserved better than this. She deserved a man who could give her what she wanted, not someone who barely had enough to get by. No, she deserved someone whose fate wasn't tied to the demon. I thought bitterly. Even now, I felt the very walls I built up crumbling. I bit my lips, forcing myself to think of nothing but the pain. Well, it's still a bit early to go back, so how about some dinner, Naruto? I shook my head politely, declining her offer. No thanks, Hanabi. I have some personal stuff to take care of tonight. Oh really now? She replied, pressing on with this subject. What kind of personal stuff do you have to do tonight? I raised my eyebrow, giving her a questionable look. Personal stuff, princess, I said, and she puffed her cheeks in response. Same time tomorrow, Hanabi. I gave her a wave before leaving in a shunshin. Hanabi's pav. Personal stuff, my third time this week he's turned me down. Something's going on here and I don't like it. Here I was, trying to be all nice to him, and what do I get in return? Zilch. Nada, nothing. Still, I wonder where he goes at night, or what he does. I've followed him around on several occasions, arguing with myself each time that I wasn't stalking him. I was merely studying him in his own environment so that I can better understand my partner. It's not my fault that he's unwilling to join in with the team bonding exercises. Believe me when I say this, but that man is like a closed book, protected more tightly than Kakashi's treasured Aika Aika Paradise collection. Speaking of which, I have to get a move on. I could see him already several meters away, and this would be a good way to practice my stealth. Quickly throwing up a henge, I shunshined after him, watching him closely with my Byakugan activated and hidden between the henge. It's not that I didn't want him to know that I'm following him. It's just that I'm very concerned for him as a teammate only. From what I already know, he doesn't like to walk through the normal part of the village. For some unknown reason, he walks through the slums of the village, not bothered by the disgusting smells and the garbage lying around everywhere. I let out a small as my foot stepped into something that resembled a puddle. I'm afraid to even know if that was water or not. Disgust appeared on my face as I looked at my sandal. Great. Just great. These were my favorite pair too. This is for Naruto. I keep telling myself over and over. This is for Naruto, Hanabi. Just ignore it until you finish your mission. You can boil your feet later. By the time I look up, he was already halfway down the block, weaving in and out of the crowd. Just where was he going? Surely this has to be some shortcut, right? I can't imagine him having some kind of business here. I see him entering a small rundown apartment and I quickly catch up. I stop myself outside a brown wooden door. Taking a step back, I wonder what he was doing in here. Was he visiting someone? My eyes widened. Oh my god, was he meeting an escort here? I quickly shook my head, dismissing that thought. There's no way that someone like Naruto would do it. Although, I narrowed my eyes, that would explain why he keeps disappearing and declining my invitations to spend some time together. Damn it, I hate my curiosity. I'm probably going to hate myself in the morning for this, but against my better judgment, I crank my head up just a bit, just barely looking through the dirty window of the place. Preparing myself for the worst, I expected to see him shacking up with another woman, but instead, what I saw broke my heart. I always suspected that Naruto lived away from everyone else because of what he is, but never have I thought that it would be like this. I would have imagined him living in a cabin far from people, not living here in the slums of Konoha. He sat there, looking tired and defeated. I've never seen him look that way before. He was always so strong, able to hold it all together, and that, but seeing him right now, really breaks my heart. His apartment, if that's what you want to call a one-room disgrace, wasn't exactly welcoming. The walls were grayish, run down, and overall, just unlivable by my standards. There was no bed either, just a mattress on the floor by the corner with an orange blanket that was barely big enough to cover him. There was nothing else inside his apartment, only a small table with a single stool and a broken-down refrigerator. Only a single picture on the floor, and even the glass was cracked. There were no other personal items there, like gifts from friends or even books, scrolls. I couldn't help but wonder just how he lived his life. Isolation and solitude, two words that would cripple even the strongest of humans, and yet, Naruto was able to get up and face the world every day. I certainly would have given up a long time ago. I felt my eyes water up, tears threatening to drop as my heart bleeds for this man. He's taken a lot of crap from the village over the years, and even more so recently. It's true what they say, you never know a person until you walked in their shoes. Unconsciously, my hand reached out, lightly touching the glass. I wanted to be there for him, to comfort and tell him that I'm sorry. I was so wrapped up in being angry at him that I never did take the time to thank him for saving the village. If it wasn't for him, pain would have destroyed the village, and everyone in it. It wasn't until now that I realized just how much pain and suffering he endured. He could have easily turned his feelings into revenge, righting those who wronged him, but he didn't. He endured and pressed on, but for what? What was he living for? My respect for him grew, but so did the questions. This was a private moment for him, the one place where he probably considers himself safe from the outside world, and I was intruding on him. I wiped the tears from my eyes and walked away. I started this adventure trying to find out more about my partner, my teammate, Uzumaki Naruto, and I ended up with more than I bargained with. I bit my lip, thinking back to when we first started training. I still remembered it as if it were yesterday. He showed up with a confused look and I took advantage of that, jumping right into sparring without waiting for the signal. I'm not trying to brag, but my taijutsu was one of the best in the village, but for him to continue dodging it without breaking a sweat made me furious. I remember lashing out at him, losing myself in my temper, and said some pretty harsh things. I expected him to walk away from all that, but he didn't. He stayed the entire day with me, sparring and lecturing as if nothing happened. There was a feeling around my heart, like a knot getting tighter, and I knew what I had to do. I had to show him that I'm not that person anymore. I wanted him to see Hanabi, the Junin, not Hanabi, the princess. I looked up into the sky, slowly turning from day to night and clenched my fist. By the gods I swear. I will make things right, Naruto, for the both of us. I whispered to no one but myself. Next day, Konoha Training Field 9, Hanabi's POV. Here, I said, holding out a lunch box wrapped in a traditional red and white blanket. I brought this for you today. I spent all night with our chefs, trying to get them to teach me to make something simple. I thought about buying him something fancy from the restaurants, but I realized that Naruto wouldn't appreciate it as much. I needed to show him that I was thankful for all that he's done for me and at the same time, apologize for it. I didn't know what kind of stuff he would eat, so I ended up making a lunch box with some toppings. Nothing too fancy. He looked at me closely, narrowing his eyes as he moved his hands to slightly touch the box. Why are you doing this, Hanabi? I can't accept this. I didn't do anything to deserve it. Even now, he's still being the self-righteous bastard, but that's who he is. I wouldn't ask him to change because there is nothing about him that I would change, and I wanted to tell him that. He needs to learn that not everything is done conditionally in this world. Even if he's forgotten, I wanted to tell him that love still exists in this world. I wanted to tell him that it was in thanks for everything that he did. I wanted to tell him that it was for an apology that was long overdue. I wanted to tell him that it was for a promise that his life would be better from this point on. But I couldn't. I thought about what I would do when this moment happened, the times where I would hand him the lunchbox and he would look at me and hold me in his arms, or where I would just run up to him and kiss him for dear life, but none of that mattered. All those plans and scenarios went out the window when he stood there looking at me, and my mind went blank. It no longer felt like I was looking at just Naruto, the ninja, but Naruto, the hero of Konoha. Just go for it, you spineless coward. My mind shouted. Mustering all the courage that I have, I pushed the box into his hand and I stepped forward into his personal space, surprising him as I wrapped my arms around his body. Thank you, I whispered as I closed my eyes and felt his body stiffen against the contact. There was no need to explain anything because, somehow, all it took was a hug from me, to tell him everything. Naruto's POV. It felt heavy in my hands, the lunch box that she gave me. From the moment that she pushed it into my hand, I realized that she was going for a hug, but it was too late. So much for the never get too close to Hanabi plan. I stiffened upon contact, my eyes widening in surprise. I didn't know what to do. No one save Tsunade had hugged me prior and I felt my stomach in knots. Am I supposed to be feeling this way? It's okay, Hanabi, I managed to utter out. I didn't do anything that would have you thanking me. You're an amazing man, Naruto. She replied, tilting her head up so that I was looking into her eyes. I'm just sorry it took me this long to realize it. A simple, thank you, would have been suffice. I awkwardly answered back, still holding the box in my hand. You know I don't like making people do things for me. I felt a small chuckle, and I kid you not, because for the first time in my life, I actually felt someone smile without seeing it. Even though her head was still buried into my chest, I could feel her smiling at me. It's time that someone shows you that there is more to life than just living it, Naruto. You don't even know who I am though, Hana. My words were cut off as she put her finger to my lips. You're wrong, Naruto. I mean, you're right that I don't know who you are, but that doesn't mean I'm not trying to understand you. I want to be able to know what makes you laugh, what makes you angry, and what makes you sad. I don't want to just only be your sparring partner, I want to be your friend. My friend. I shook my head. She's still 21, so she doesn't really know what's going on with the village politics. Being associated with me is like committing career suicide. That's why I'm pushing her away, so that she doesn't get wrapped up with the likes of me. I want her to be able to climb to heights that I will never be able to reach. I want her to be happy with her life and settle down with a man that can make her happy, not be stuck with me who's only holding her back. I tried to push her away, but her grip was strong. Hanabi, I muttered as I tried to pry her fingers loose. I can't let you do this. It's not fair to you. After 5 minutes of moving around, trying to shake her loose without resorting to extreme force, I let out a sigh. Are you done here, princess? No, not until you agree that you're my friend. She shot back. If I have to stick to you all night, I'll do it. You can't be serious, Hanabi. There are so many other people that you can be friends with. I won't be much of a friend to you. As much as it pained me to say it, I couldn't back away from this. I have to convince her that this was for the best. You don't want me as a friend, Hanabi. I don't know what's the first thing in being a good friend. All I know is how to cause pain and misery. My voice trailed off. As negative as it was, I couldn't help but know how true it is. With Team 7, with the rest of the rookies, they all looked to me as some sort of pillar, but no matter how hard I tried, nothing was ever good enough. My past was proof enough. When does that matter, you idiot? I don't care about your past. She argued. Everyone's made mistakes in the past, some more than others, but it's who we are, Naruto. No matter how much we run, we can never escape it. Just like how I am Hyuga Hanabi, the former heiress to the clan and the ice princess of Konoha. You are Uzumaki Naruto, the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi and the hero of Konoha. She continued on to lecture me, but while I didn't show it, I felt my lips twitch. She sure was a stubborn person. I haven't met anyone this stubborn since Tamari, and I thought she took the cake. One time during a sparring match, her fan accidentally cracked from the pressure when I rushed her with a stage 2 Rasengan. She thought the materials in her fan could withstand my technique, but no, she disregarded my warning. Even Gaara told her that if she saw me coming at her with the Rasengan, she should dodge and run like hell. Hell, even during the match when I was forming the jutsu, I told her that if she didn't heed my warning, I'm going to destroy her fan. Of course, it came down to an A-rank jutsu against the metals of her fan. With that much pure chakra grinding against it, it came as no surprise when that fan snapped in half. It was an understatement to say that when she swore she'll chase me throughout the entire desert, she would actually do it. It took a while before Tamari calmed down, but it was then that I learned about her stubbornness. Everyone else would have given up and forgiven me at that time when I said I would buy her a new fan, but she didn't take no for an answer. She told me that the only way she'll let me replace her battle fan is if she beat me in a match. We departed that day with a newfound respect for each other. I would never tell her, but that day, it ended up as one of my favorite memories. Naruto. Her voice called out to me, knocking me out of my daydream. I no longer found myself in the hot sandy desert, but back here in the luscious greens of Konoha. With a faraway gaze in my eyes, I gave her a confused look. Yes, I answered. Huh, yes what? She asked, puffing her cheeks in a cute way. You had this faraway look for the past few seconds. Did you get bored of me already? I couldn't help but manage a small smile. All right, Hanabi, let's be friends, I replied. Maybe, just maybe, being friends with someone isn't such a bad thing. As Hanabi hugged me tighter, I thought to myself, you were right, Ero Senin. Making someone smile is worth all the gold in the world. Especially if it's someone who cares a lot about you. I just wish that you were able to tell Ba-chan just how much she mattered to you before you died. 2 weeks later. Day of the tournament. Naruto's POV. Calm down, Hanabi, I said, reminding her for the 5th time today. I suppose it would look bad on us if she continued to act this way. People were beginning to stare and whisper, but for the most part, left us alone. Being left alone, I can deal with, but I'm pretty sure that it wasn't her that they were whispering about. Ever since news broke out that the partner of the Ice Princess was none other than the demon himself, she's been approached by many people, ninjas and civilians alike, asking her if she would like to change her mind for a better partner, but she furiously turned them down. Even to some point, making an idle threat. Half of me wanted her to say yes, so she didn't have to deal with this anymore. I could tell she was getting annoyed by all of this drama. The nerve of these people. She harshly whispered, finally taking a seat next to me. Even on the day of the exam, they still want me to switch. She crossed her arms and started to glare at everyone. I think they took the hint because everyone started to back away. Messing around with me was one thing, but messing around with a pissed off Hyuga was like a messing with Tsunade and her stash of alcohol. It was just one of those things that you didn't do if you wanted to keep your fingers. Anyway, I said, trying to change the subject. Do you know who we're going up first? I asked. Hanabi shook her head. They should be announcing the matchups soon. We should head to the arena door to check it out. I nodded my head. It's fine. After all the training that we did, we should do pretty well. Do you know who's the favorite to win this competition? It is slightly amusing to hear the way Hanabi distastefully uttered out his name. It seemed like it left a bad taste in her mouth. I quietly chuckled but kept my composure. I could tell that she was just as surprised as everyone else to see someone like him approach the team others have deemed the black sheep of the competition, but unlike her, I wasn't surprised. I knew Sasuke. He wasn't the type to let someone outshine him in anything. The perfect example of an alpha personality. I unfortunately had the opportunity to study his personality well. In all my years, I have come across a lot of people. Sadists, rude, aggressive, affectionate, and almost everything else. Once a douche, always a douche. So it wasn't a surprise when he singled me out. Not even a single greeting for your old teammate Dobi. It's no surprise to see why you're such a disgrace. I guess someone forgot to beat the manners into you when we were in the academy. Such a shame, really. You would have made a great lapdog. I could feel the glare that Hanabi was giving Sasuke, but I put my hand on her knee, telling her that everything was okay. The last thing I needed was for her to do something rash and get disqualified before the competition. Yeah, I'm pretty sure gutting a fellow ninja despite his attitude still counts as being disqualified. She threw me a questionable look and I shook my head, indicating that I didn't want her to do anything. This wasn't her fight, it was mine. I pushed myself up from the bench and got a good look at my former teammate. Uchiha, I answered. I could tell that not much has changed with him over the years. His outfit had some minor changes for the style, but the primary colors of his clan remained intact. The pride of the Uchiha clan, once hailed as one of the strongest clans in Konoha, is now reduced to the sole surviving member. The man took a step forward, a smirk written across his face as he looked me in the eye, almost as if he was trying to provoke a reaction out of me. I knew better though, everyone was now looking at us. The chatter stopped momentarily and everyone held on to their breath, waiting to see what was going to happen next. A big part of me wanted to deck him across the face and settle this feud between us once and for all. I wanted to tell him that in this very competition, if it came down to just me and him, only one of us will walk away if we met, but I didn't. I couldn't. I studied the rules for this competition and it clearly stated that any fighting done outside the official matches was forbidden. Kakashi wanted this event to be clean and it was a good way to promote unity among the ninjas in the village. Naruto, I heard Hanabi whispered as she gently put her hand on my arm. I turned my head and saw that look of concern she had for me in her eyes. While her facial expression didn't give her away, her eyes did. Damn it, Sasuke. Why the hell did you just ditch me like that? Another voice yelled out. We're supposed to be equal partners, you bastard. I'm not your underling. Now that was a surprise. I didn't think that I would be running into two of my former friends. Either some higher power must be enjoying a show at my expense, or I must have done something wrong in my past life. Like Sasuke, Kiba didn't change much either. Gone was the loud annoying idiot, and standing in his place was an even more obnoxious man. Kiba pushed his way to the front and stopped when he saw us just standing there. Sasuke and I were one step away from brawling, and Hanabi was there holding on to my arm. I think he did a double take before a snarl appeared on his face. What the hell do you think you're doing, Uzumaki? It's already a shame that Hanabi had no choice but to partner up with you, and you're already trying to get her disqualified. I mean, seriously, she might have had a chance if she partnered with someone else, but with you. Not possible. This is a new low, even for you. I uttered a low-pitched growl and I started to tense up my muscles. He can insult me all he wants, but when he starts insulting Hanabi, who had nothing to do with this, he's starting to test my patience. You better watch your mouth, you mutt. You can spit on me, throw drinks in my face, and even dance on my grave when I die, but if you ever think about insulting my partner, I will end your petty little life faster than pain. I threatened. Just give me a reason, Inuzuka. Just give me a damn reason. I stepped away from Sasuke as he too was sporting a glare on his face. Was it because he was being shown up? Or was it because of something else? I didn't have time to think about it as I leaked out a littling intent for everyone in the room. I have to show them that I'm not some kind of pushover, has-been ninja. Come on, mutt. We're leaving. We have to prepare for the first match. To everyone's surprise, mine included, Sasuke was the first one to walk away, his hands in his pockets. I'll see you in the first round, Uzumaki. You better not disappoint me. Oh, that sly sneaky bastard. Sasuke knew we were his opponents in the first round and he wanted to check us out. He was scoping us out the entire time, trying to see where we stand. I narrowed my eyes. If the Uchiha wanted to play, who was I to deny him of his goal? For the first time in a while, I could feel the anticipation building up in my system. I'm anxious to step out there and see how I match up against the great Sasuke. But Inuzuka, now he is a different story. I could feel the malice pouring out of him. Even now, my fists were still clenched and my eyes were staring straight at the doors that those two just went through. I was so focused that I didn't feel Hanabi rubbing up and down my arm, trying to get my attention. What the hell is going on with me? I was never one to give into my emotions like this. Just a few moments ago, I almost lost myself to anger. I forgot about where I was, who I was with, and what I was doing. All I saw were their faces and nothing else. I was pretty sure that my fist was going to meet Kiba's face, but somehow, Hanabi was able to calm me down. With a simple touch and a few words, she was able to bring me back to reality, and that scared me. What kind of power did she have over me? I know that there were certain feelings developing between us, but it can't go any further than that. I kept telling myself over and over again that she can't be with someone like me. She deserves someone who has a bright future, not someone whose future is unpredictable. I tried to only be friends with her, but it was harder than it looks. Whatever these feelings are, I didn't know what to make of it, and that scares me. All my life, I've been taught that to be a ninja, you cannot be enslaved to your feelings. You need to be able to your feelings at a given notice, personal or platonic. Whether I like it or not, I am a living, breathing weapon of mass destruction. I have the powers to destroy anything that crosses my path, and yet, the idea of not knowing what I'm feeling petrifies me. I could feel her fingers rubbing circles against my palm, shaking me out of my thoughts. Naruto, are you okay? The princess asked me, concern now written across her face. I must have zoned out for a few minutes. Yeah, I'm fine, I answered, giving her a small smile. Are you okay, Hanabi? I mean, I know you could have defended yourself, but I couldn't help it. Something about him pissed me off. My partner shook her head. It was different. I never had anyone stand up for me before. Not even my father. All he did was tell me that in this world, no one will stand up for me, and I had to do it for myself, and I spent most of my life believing that. Although, it was different with Anko, but then again, she pretty much had a problem with everyone. I bit back a chuckle as I watched her giggle at her own statement. I found myself enticed by the sound of her voice. I must say, I would have never pegged you for a gentleman though. Maybe the rough, caveman type, but not the chivalrous gentle type. Anko had you all wrong. I snorted. Anko always painted me in the worst ways. Ever since I made good on my threat to tie her up and slowly burn her precious dango, she was on the warpath, trying to get me back. Yeah. Well, I stuttered. Hanabi was looking at me with those eyes again, and I was feeling a bit uncomfortable. She had the same eyes when she noticed the scar on my chest. Even though she was determined to know how I received that scar, I didn't tell her. Only a few people know the true story of this scar, and I plan on keeping it that way. I let out a small cough. Now that we know who we're up against, how do you want to proceed with this match? I want Sasuke, she answered, with a fox-like grin on her face. Really? I asked, surprised at her choice. Why do you want to face the Uchiha? I thought she would have gone with the mutt, knowing full well that he wouldn't be able to touch him. Not against her taijutsu style anyway. If she went with him, it would have left me with Sasuke, and that would have been checkmate. You don't know, do you? I shook my head. She explained to me that since the formation of the clans, there existed a rivalry between the Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan, each boasting to each other that their eyes were the superior ones, and since Sasuke was the only remaining Uchiha left in the village, this was her only chance in settling the score once and for all. Ah, I see. A matter of personal pride then. She nodded her head. I can see where she's coming from, and I could tell that this match between Sasuke will mean a lot for her, in terms of both personal development and career-wise. Okay. Fine, but the moment I see you in danger, I'm stepping in, I answered. I rather have a partner who's alive than in critical condition. Just as she was about to argue, I threw a glare at her. Not up for discussion, princess. I promised Neji to keep you safe, and I intend to do that. You want a one-on-one with Sasuke, right? Well, I'm giving it to you, but I don't trust anyone in this competition. You're more important than winning to me, so if you can agree with my rule, I'll abide by yours. Do we have a deal? She mulled over it for a minute before nodding her head. Deal, she answered, holding out her hand. But if I do manage to beat Sasuke, you're buying me dinner. Wait, so when you beat him, you're not satisfied with the win, but you're also making me take you out to dinner as well? I asked, acting flabbergasted. Hanabi nodded her head, a big smile on her face. I guess she picked up on the way I phrased it. I didn't use the word if, I used the word when to show that I have complete faith in her. Yup, and I don't want ramen Naruto. I want to go someplace nice. I chuckled and shook her hand. It had a nice feeling to it. Compared to the roughness of my hand, hers was soft and smooth, and it had a warm feeling to it. I looked at Hanabi and noticed that there was a small tinge of red on her face. I guess she was blushing, so I released her hand. I just hope she isn't like Hinata, who fainted. God, I would hate to have a repeat like that. Attention, competitors. The competition is now about to begin. The Hokage has requested that all participants make their ways to the stands so that we can get this show on the road. It's time to show them what we can do. Are you ready? I asked. She took a deep breath and nodded. Let's do this Naruto. Konoha Coliseum. Naruto's POV. While Kakashi was taking his time introducing everyone and explaining the rules, I took the time to see if I recognized any familiar faces. I noticed that the rookie 9 was here, sitting on the opposite side, and they were barely attention to the rules as well. It pained me that after all these years, the only interaction that I had with my past friends was from today, and that wasn't even a real interaction. It was more like foreplay to a fight. I let out a quiet sigh. Even after all these years, things still remained the same. I guess the flow of time stops for no one. I would have thought there would be some people that could overcome fear, but I guess I was wrong. Hanabi, on the other hand, was turning her head and looking around, glaring at everyone who dared look our way. I wasn't not sure why she was acting like this, but I suspected that it had something to do with the dirty looks that were thrown my way. I guess she developed an overprotective persona during the time that we spent together. It was just a shame that she had to be like this. I hated that she had to experience these things because of me. Hanabi. Yeah, she answered without looking at me. You know you can sit with your friends, right? They keep looking over here and trying to get your attention. I answered and looked at the direction where her friends were currently sitting. It would be rude if you don't respond in kind. HMPH, are you trying to get rid of me already? Ah, was that a pout coming from her? Yes, I think she's pouting at me. It was cute in a way, definitely the thing I needed to distract me. Of course not. I just want you to enjoy yourself, not worry about me. I'm going to be fine, princess. I can take care of myself, you know. I know, but I want to be here. I quietly said thank you, hoping that she wouldn't hear it, but judging from the smile she had on her face, I knew she did. Will the team of Uchiha Sasuke, Inuzuka Kiba and Hyuga Hanabi, Uzumaki Naruto please come forward? Your match will now begin. There it was. The start of the Junin competition. I grabbed Hanabi's hand and looked into her eyes. Do you trust me, Hanabi? I asked. Yes. I gave her a sincere smile. There was no hesitation on her part. Even for other ninjas, when they ask this question to their partners, there is always some hesitation because you never know what kinds of plans are set in motion. It could be that one day, your partners, and the next, your bitter enemies, but with us, it was something else. Something more. Konoha Coliseum battlefield. Naruto's POV. Okay, you maggots. You know the rules. In fact, no, you don't know the rules. Let me make it clear, okay? I am the rules, you got that? Ibiki growled. When I say the match is over, the match is over. Anyone caught doing something that I don't like is done. Do I make myself clear? Even now, Ibiki managed to gain control over the situation. I guess it helps when you're head of the torture and interrogation department. I found myself nodding along with everyone else in the stadium. It was not wise to have this man as your enemy. I'm going to pound you to the ground, Uzumaki. Kiba yelled. I'm going to make you wish you never showed up today. I rolled my eyes. Leave it to him to make such a declaration like that. I turned my head to glance at my partner, and I was surprised to see a grin on her face. I know this grin. It was the same exact grin that Anko got when she was ready to skewer somebody. I shudder to myself as I recall an unpleasant memory involving her and Guy. You still want a one-on-one with Sasuke? I asked, already knowing her answer. I just needed her to confirm with me right now before Ibiki started the match. She nodded, telling me that's what she wanted. Sasuke. I yelled out. How about we make this more interesting? I have to play this part well or else he won't go for it. I know in his head, he had the same plan as me. Let the mud go after my partner while he tries to take me on. What did you have in mind, Dobi? What the Sasuke? Don't listen to him. He's up to something. I know it. Kiba retorted, trying to talk some sense into his partner. We got this in the bag. With my plans and your skills, we can easily overpower them. Shut up, mutt. Sasuke coldly replied. Okay. That surprised me. I didn't expect it to be like this, but who am I to say anything? I think this can actually work. I don't have all day Dobi. Let's have a one-on-one match. Hanabi here would like to fight you without the interference of your one-track mind partner. I promise on my word that I will not interfere with this fight. What do you say? I watch him mull over this. Kiba was fuming. To be exact, I could tell he was ready to someone. I guess this wasn't what he had in mind. Uzu. Agreed. Sasuke answered, cutting off his partner. Kiba, stay out of this or all you. His partner took a step back, surprise written across his face, but nonetheless, he took a step back. I smiled and nodded to Ibiki, who signaled the start of the fight. Go get them, princess. There was nothing else that needed to be said. All the training that we did, the sweat, the blood, the tears. It was all for this moment. I must have gotten through to her because she gave me a tight hug before running towards Sasuke, who was already in his stance. I took my seat against the wall, watching the fight with interest. I honestly couldn't tell how this match will go. I mean, I know Hanabi's skills since we trained together for the past month, but Sasuke was different. I've always known him to be a genius, and with those eyes of his, especially with his Mangekyo Sharingan, it makes him a formidable opponent. With her Byakugan activated, she had nearly a 360-degree vision, so I wasn't afraid of Sasuke rushing in and dominating her with his speed. Watching them fight reminded me of my fight with Neji. The way that Hanabi was playing this safe is a testament to the teachings of her clan, but combined with Anko's teaching and my wild, unpredictable brawling style, Sasuke might actually go down. Go get that emo bastard, princess. Win this for that idiot of yours, Hanabi-chan. I groaned to myself. It didn't take long for me to track down the source of all those screams. It also didn't help that the people who were screaming was sitting next to Kakashi, who had an amused smile on his face. I wanted to bang my head against the wall and kept banging it until the blood miraculously blocked out my hearing. I wonder if I could get disqualified for being a danger to myself. Of all the people to be yelling, it had to be Tsunade and Anko. What also made matters worse was that they were already drinking. Hake Hasanjaki. Hearing Hanabi yell out that name diverted my attention back to the fight. She was sporting multiple bruises on her arm from Sasuke, but her last attack caught him off guard. Just seeing him being slammed into the wall made me wince. I could personally vouch that her attack just now hurt like a bitch. Sasuke slowly got up and spat out some blood. His Sharingan was already spinning, and I could tell that he already had a plan in mind. I could see Hanabi smirking as she taunted her opponent on. That's the way, midget-san. Anko shouted. Show him that your man Naruto has bigger balls than him. My eyes widened. Shut up, Anko. Stop distracting her. Hausenka Sumabeni no Jutsu. Hakusho Kaden. Hanabi shouted, countering the Uchiha's jutsu, but I saw Sasuke smile. Like literally, the man never smiled unless it was for something good. He quickly touched his wrist, revealing a summoning tattoo, and summoned 2 windmill shurikens attached to multiple wires. He threw it with such force that Kiba had to jump out of the way, trying to avoid being collateral damage. Smart move, Sasuke. You led her on a merry chase and engaged her in a taijutsu match first. You wanted her to exhaust her arms so that she can't keep up her Kaden for much longer, and with the ninja wire attached to those shurikens, you're planning on forcing her into submission. Just like I predicted, Hanabi was gasping for air by the time she ended her Kaden and found herself trapped within the ninja wire. I could tell she was fidgeting around, struggling to break free, and the signs of blood leaking from her wounds proved it. Do you give up, Hyuga? Or do I have to burn you to a crisp? Sasuke held up his hand, covered one eye, the sign for the Amaterasu. Like hell, Hanabi yelled. Jukenpu Ikigekishin. Sasuke's eyes widened as he watched those ninja wires snap in two, and I bet, with his eyes, he could see the chakra attack coming at him. He jumped out of the way and stuck to the top of the wall. I couldn't help but smirk. This was why geniuses are so overrated. They have a plan and they expect everything to go according to plan, but where that is their strength, that is also their weakness. Life isn't a plan. People aren't a plan. We're the wild cards in life. You have to either roll with the punches or you become the punching bag. I bet Sasuke's feeling a bit pressured at the moment. That's the way Hanabi. I thought to myself. You have to keep the pressure on or else they'll keep coming back. Fine Hyuga. Play with this. Sasuke snarled out. Chidori Senbon. I let out a small whistle, amazed at the sheer amount that Sasuke was actually capable of producing. This couldn't be good for Hanabi. She was almost at her limit. I told her that we needed to boost up her stamina, but no, she said she was going to rely on her Juken to end the match quickly. I couldn't believe I agreed to her assessment. I knew I should have sent her to run laps around Konoha. Before I knew it, she was already on the ground rolling and dodging Sasuke's attack, but I had to give it to her. While she was doing that, she was throwing out Hake Hasanjiki at a fast rate, some of them actually hitting him in the chest. I guess somewhere in the middle of those attacks, it must have collided and caused a smokescreen made out of dust. I could hear them panting slightly, and I knew Sasuke was on the other end of the field, waiting for her to make a move. Naruto. Hanabi yelled, her voice filled with pain. My eyes quickly adjusted to the smokescreen and I saw her on the ground, with Kiba standing on top with his sharp claws bearing on her throat. I see now why she yelled out my name. If she made any attempt in throwing him off, he might accidentally slit her throat. Inuzuka. I growled. What the hell do you think you're doing? Winning. He replied, smirking. In case you've forgotten, this is a partner's competition. Sasuke may have made a deal with you, but I never did. I'm winning this match whether you like it or not. Give up this match now or I will rip out her throat. To make his point clear, he moved his finger closer and a little blood dripped out. Surrender or you'll be responsible for her death as well. Kiba yelled. At this point, Hanabi bit her lips, trying to keep herself calm and analyze the situation. Me, on the other hand, already had a plan, and that was to rip him to pieces. The first rule for all ninjas is to always make sure that you do the research against your opponent. It may very well mean the difference between life and death, winning and losing. For Kiba's sake, he failed to realize just who he was dealing with. He's forgotten that I'm not like everyone else. I am Uzumaki Naruto, the man who defeated Pain, an enemy who was strong enough to almost destroy Konoha and reduce its forces to nothing. The moment I saw a few drops of blood leak out, my body reacted instantly and I took a step forward. Then another step. Within 3 steps, I was already behind Kiba, with my K's no Yaiba activated and pointed at his family jewels. Let her go, Kiba, and honor the agreement, or else, it will be uncomfortable going through life pretending to be a woman. The smirk from his face vanished when he realized the implication of my threat, and I could see him debating if it was worth winning this competition or go through life as a woman. What will it be, Mutt? My hand's getting tired, you know. To make my point any clearer, I lowered my hand, effectively slicing into his cloth, drawing some blood in the process. Whoops. I replied, my eyes never leaving his. Move your hand, Kiba, Hanabi softly said. It's not worth the beating that I'm going to give you when this is over. I'm not sure how she does it. Even in this situation, she still manages to throw out some wisecrack. It's just like Anko to pass on nothing but her fiery personality to the next generation. I should seriously rethink about having that talk with the both of them and how bad of an influence Anko is on her. Maybe I could recommend a new mentor, maybe Kurenai or someone. Chidori Iso. The sound of static popping in the air made me turn my head slightly and saw a spear of lightning making its way towards Hanabi. Before I could react, it was at Hanabi's throat and I could see a slight tinge of fear in her eyes. Drop it, Sasuke demanded. He took his time walking towards us but held his weapon steady against her throat. Make me, I replied, taunting him. I needed him to slip up because in this case, if he does, the only one that would be regretting it would be Kiba since Sasuke's blade is on top of his wrist. It's a win-win for us. Kiba must have known it too because he actually had a bewildered expression on his face. As the big bad Uchiha afraid of one village pariah? Tell me you're not afraid of me. I continued throwing insults and basically anything that would get him angry. At this point, Hanabi redirected her glare to me, as if she was looking to me with her eyes. I guess I would have to do more than apologize to her later. She really hated whenever I'm in this kind of mood. What the Uchiha? Why did you put it on top of my wrist? Move it someplace else, damn it. Kiba yelled, turning his head to his partner. Move it to Uzumaki's balls. No, Sasuke replied. Now, that was unexpected. Several gasps were heard through the stadium. I'm guessing the turn of events surprised some people. What do you think you're doing, Mutt? Did I not tell you to stay out of this? I'm winning this match. It's called deception. Something that you should be an expert on. Kiba snarled. Seeing as how you had plenty of experience doing that, I told you that if you interfered, I'd you. The Uchiha coldly responded before delivering a firm backhand to his partner's face. Kiba flew hard into the stadium walls, causing everyone to wince at the impact. He slowly releases the jutsu and stepped away, allowing me to help Hanabi up. Are you okay? I asked, my eyes checking for any other injury. A quick hand seal and my hand grew green, healing the wound on her neck. This fight is over, Sasuke answered. You won. Her eyes widened, shocked at the statement. What? It's not finished. We still don't know what would have happened if your idiot of a partner didn't interfere. Hanabi. It's fine. She turned and looked at me, confusion clearly written across her face. You did a great job. Not many people can actually go toe-to-toe with him and force him to be serious. This is your victory. A small smile appeared on her face and I knew that it would do for now. I pulled her close to me, giving her a hug and turned to Sasuke. What now? Your partner is incapable of continuing and you already conceded your loss to Hanabi. I think you know what's next, Dobi. Of course I know. It was something that we both wanted for a while. A fight between rivals. Even if he didn't publicly acknowledge it, he considered me a rival. There was no one else that he could really test his limits against. I don't even think Kakashi's on his radar anymore. I sighed and reached into my pockets. Here. I threw a soldier pill to Sasuke which he gladly took. Any restrictions, Sasuke? He shook his head, just come at me with the intent to. Why's using the same line as Kakashi when we took our genin exams? Are you seriously going to fight him now, Naruto? Hanabi whispered, her hands tightly holding onto my shirt. I just realized that we were still in a hug, with her arms against my chest. Yeah, it's time. Like Sasuke, there wasn't anyone else here that would really spar with me, not with the same intensity as him. Just be careful, okay? It was endearing, to see her blush as she said it. I rather not have dinner if it means you being able to come back to me. That's a promise of a lifetime, Hanabi. I didn't exactly want it to come out that way, but I guess even now, the old Naruto was still in there. With that, I walked forward, to meet Sasuke in the center of the ring. I made sure that Hanabi was safely on the other side, next to Ibiki before anything started. I wasn't going to be like the Uchiha and allow any harm to come to her. I guess, whether I admit it or not, she became an important person in my life. It's just a matter of how much I want to keep fooling myself. Maybe. I'll tell her about it when this is all over. You finally ready, Dobi? The Uchiha asked. He slipped into his traditional stance and looked at me, his Sharingan already out. Some might have decreed that it was fate, that the fight between Sasuke and I was destined to happen. No matter what path we took, eventually, our paths would have intersected one way or another, and given our past history together, I might be inclined to agree. You see, we're not your average kind of ninja. In fact, we're just the total opposite. Why, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. When you think of a typical ninja, you think of the greats, like Kakashi, the copycat ninja, or Tsunade, the legendary Sannin. These are the kind of people that you want your kids to admire, to have as a role model. They were strong, charismatic, honorable, and above all, they have a strong sense of justice. Sadly, neither of us meet those criteria. In fact, both of our stories weren't that much different. Both of us were raised without parents. The difference was that Sasuke actually knew his, but I never did. It was due to his clan's genocide that drove him to the brink of desperation, where his soul was blackened and tarnished. I, on the other hand, was abandoned by everyone. They made me the scion of the village, a scapegoat for anything and everything that went wrong in the village. I wanted nothing more than a chance to prove myself, and when that chance finally came, I gladly took it. I never did question why the dead last of the class was paired up with the rookie of the year. Maybe that was how the system worked. Or maybe, that was how fate worked. We fought many times over the years, some battles worse than others. At first, it started with some bruises from our spars, but it slowly elevated to minor scars, and it only went to hell from there. The more we fought, the more intense it became. By the end of the Great Third Ninja War, we were bitter enemies on the battlefield. He was driven by revenge for his brother, and his hatred for Konoha. I was driven by my desire to protect those whom I care for. It came as no surprise to anyone that we were destined to meet that day. I was the only obstacle that stood in the way of his revenge. We fought for several hours and new scars were formed, bonds were broken, and tears were spilled that day. It cost me everything, but I kept my promise to her, but was the price worth it? I lost everything dear to me that day, and for a while, I fell into the darkness. Tsunade told me that the light in my eyes was getting dimmer and dimmer, but I told her I was fine, that this was just a phase. Despite her nagging, I found myself caring less and less. Eating became a chore and bathing was unnecessary. The only thing that I wanted to do was just close my eyes and bathe in the darkness, in the solitude of my own personal hell. Sasuke, on the other hand, was doing fine. He was slowly adapting back into the social structure of the village, and with the help of the others, the Uchiha name was coming back. I guess even after all the things that he's done, people will always welcome him back with open arms. Life is just unfair like that. That's why we're here now, in the stadium about to clash. I could feel everyone's eyes on us, waiting to see what the two top-tier ninjas of our generation will do. The Uchiha Avenger. The fallen hero. Just who will come out on top? I shook my head in disgust at the way they were ogling us. I tried my best to ignore this attention, knowing that they weren't here to see a fight, they were here to see a brutal, gory match. They wanted to see me broken and bleeding on the floor. While Sasuke popped the soldier pill in his mouth, I saw Hanabi slowly making her way over to Ibiki, a worried expression on her face. I gave her a comforting smile, but that didn't ease her worries. Ready, Dobi? I nodded my head. Bring it on, Tem. I took my eyes off Hanabi and focused my attention back on my opponent. I had to remember that this wasn't just any opponent. This was Uchiha Sasuke, the man who knew me just as well as I knew him. We practically grew up with each other, despite our differences. Chidori. Sasuke yelled. The familiar sound of the chirping birds filled my ears and my eyes focused on the elemental chakras surrounding his hand. You better come at me with the intent to Naruto, because if you don't, I'm going to put you 6 feet under. I jumped back, thrusting my palm forward and concentrated. Rasengan. I shouted. Lightning elemental jutsu meet non-elemental jutsu. I threw my power into the attack, meeting his attack head-on. We struggled for dominance for a few seconds, neither of us giving up any ground. What are you going to do now, Sasuke? I grunted out. It's a stalemate. Stalemate? What stalemate? Did those years deteriorate your eyesight as well as your skills? Sasuke retorted. Take a closer look. That's when I noticed that his left arm was lowered and I could literally see him gathering chakra at a fast pace. My eyes widened. What the hell? When was he able to do that? Daburu Chidori. Holy crap. With just a split second, I narrowly dodged the second Chidori attack that was aimed for my ribs. I twisted my body and pulled my left arm back, another Rasengan forming on the center of my palm. Eat it, Sasuke. I roared and thrust my palm forward. Too slow, Dobi. What? That was all I managed to get out before my eyes caught the look in his. Shit. He pulled out the Mangekyo Sharingan. I dropped the power in the Rasengan, hoping to use it as momentum to pull away from him. I spun my body, throwing a quick elbow to throw him off balance. The last thing I wanted was to be caught in that damned jutsu again. I saw Sasuke duck under the elbow and I grinned. I guess even the genius can be surprised. I took this chance to step back and gain some distance, but apparently, the moment I did that, the Uchiha took a step forward and rammed his head against mine, causing me to stagger back in pain and out of instinct, my eyes opened. Tsukuyomi. Hanabi's pav. I found myself biting the bottom of my lip. I know, it's a bad habit for a heiress, but titles be damn. I'm worried about him. If he was matched up against someone else, I wouldn't be like this, but as fate would have it, he was fighting against Uchiha Sasuke. I hate this. I don't understand for the life of me why he would go out and fight against the Uchiha. We already won this match, so why is he taking an unnecessary risk? We could have doubled team the bastard, but oh no, he wanted to take him on in a fair fight. Take it easy there, Hyuga. He's going to be just fine. I turned my head in surprise. What? Who said anything about me being worried? I could feel the heat gathering to my cheeks, full well knowing that I was blushing right now. The man scoffed. Please. I think I deserve some more credit than this. I am, after all, the head of interrogation. You're like an open book, Hanabi, too easy to read. As he started listing off the telltale signs of someone who's worried, my blush became even redder, and I'm pretty sure that I was a distant cousin of a tomato now. Okay. Enough. I'm worried, okay. I'm pretty sure I have the right as his teammate to be. I replied, hoping to end this embarrassing conversation now. Right. Ibiki answered, a smirk on his face. You know, Uzumaki isn't out there fighting for himself. Are you insisting that he's out there because of someone's idea of a joke? That they want him to suffer at the hands of the great Uchiha? Huh, is that it? Anger ran through my body and I wanted nothing more than to juken this fool to death. Calm down, Hanabi. That's not what I meant. He answered, his eyes never leaving the field. Then explain yourself. I all but growled. He was one step away from being fatalied by a small but dangerous girl. I knew the kid way before you even got out of your diapers, so when I tell you that I know the kid, I know the kid. I've seen him grow up from a shitty, pranking brat to the ninja that he is today. People have thrown shit at him his entire life, and the things that he experienced, it could even break the strongest of people. Time and time again, this brat never caught a break. Anyone else would have given up and resigned to their fate, but not him. The kid doesn't know the meaning of quitting. I frowned slightly, surprised at what Ibiki was telling me. I didn't know Naruto had a hard life before this. In fact, now that I think about it, I don't know anything about his childhood. The only thing that I do know is what he had on his records. It wasn't like I could go around asking, "Hey, can you tell me about Uzumaki Naruto?" I'm sure people would be thrilled to talk about him. That name still brought out the worst in people. It's not like I could blame them. I used to be one of them, a closed-minded idiot who only believed what I was told. I shook my head, knowing that if I continued to ponder about this, I would only come up with more questions than answers. I need to find someone who knew Naruto better than he did. Someone like the Hokage. Or maybe Tsunade-sama. You got a good partner, Hanabi. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Ibiki suddenly said, breaking me out of my thoughts. What do you mean by that? I softly replied, my eyes returning to the match. Naruto's different, he said, hesitation present in his voice. It was almost if he was choosing his words carefully. I've seen him at his worst and I've seen him at his best, but what he's doing today, this is something else. Something else, huh? I watched my partner out there, fighting in this competition for no one else but me, and that's when I realized what Ibiki was trying to say. He's doing this for me, isn't he? I asked. No words were said, but the feeling that I got only proved my point. Ibiki was right. I did find myself a good partner. I shuddered to think what would have happened if it was someone else. What if I teamed up with my sister? Would I still be the person that I am today? I pondered that thought as I watched the two on the field, smiles on both of their faces. The struggle for dominance between the Chidori and Rasengan continued to hold my gaze, and when Sasuke quickly pulled out the second one with his other hand, I found myself holding on to a breath that I didn't know I had. Dodge it, Naruto! I shouted and then quickly covered my mouth. I can't believe I just did that. I heard Ibiki chuckle and ignored him. I suddenly found myself caring more about my partner's well-being than this stupid match. Oh, this is not going to end well for the kid. Ibiki quietly said. The Uchiha just pulled out his trump card. Naruto. I replied, concern in my voice. Please be safe. The last part came out as a whisper, but I only prayed that nothing bad would come out from this. He has already suffered enough, and when I entered this competition, I didn't think that I would be causing even more pain and suffering. I heard the Uchiha utter that one name and it was enough to send chills down my back. Everyone knows of the famed skill set that came with the Uchiha Dujutsu. There were 3 of them, 3 unique skills that complemented each other perfectly, but it came at a price. There was Amaterasu, a powerful fire technique with flames that could burn through anything, Susanoo, the strongest armor that was said to protect the user from all harm, and finally, Tsukuyomi, the most powerful genjutsu known to man. All 3 of these jutsus are said to be deadly, and only a few managed to escape with their lives intact. Kakashi was one of the few lucky or unlucky ones that experienced the Tsukuyomi from Itachi, Sasuke's now deceased brother. On one hand, he was unlucky enough to get caught in it, but lucky enough that he survived. After that day, the pain that he experienced changed him. The only other person who experienced this was Naruto himself, and if the stories were true, he experienced it a couple of times throughout his life. He never spoke about it to anyone, but if the rumors were true, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So that was why when I heard the Uchiha called forth Tsukuyomi, I felt like everything was moving at a slow pace. I could hear my heart pounding inside my chest, and I could only pray that he wasn't caught in the jutsu. Seconds passed until finally, the Uchiha took a step back, panting while my partner dropped to his knees, a blank and distant look on his face. This can't be happening. I could feel my strength being sapped away, and my knees slowly gave up. Nah. Naruto. I cried. I forced myself back up, but before I could go any further, Ibiki stood in front of me. Move. I wanted to push the man out of the way. I have to help him. I yelled at my body, begging it to move, to run, to crawl, to do something to help him. Think for a minute, Hanabi. How are you going to help him? Even Tsunade-sama confirmed that once the victim is locked inside, the only way to break it is by those affected, and last time I checked, neither one of them are you. But, I answered, trying to give an excuse, any excuse to be out there and do something. Believe in your partner. Believe in Naruto. Ibiki sternly replied, if there's anyone you can count on, it's him. Oh Naruto. I whispered. Naruto's Pav. The world of Tsukuyomi. Son of a bitch. I screamed. Sasuke. Pain rippled through my body as every sword left a small but shallow cut all over my body. I know this is a genjutsu. My body knows this is a genjutsu, but the rational mind fails to recognize it. Get with the damn program, you stupid brain of mine. It's familiar, isn't it, Dobi? The last time we were here, you managed to break free of this in under a minute. Sasuke's voice echoed throughout the realm. More swords appeared out of thin air and started cutting me. Even though they were fake, they still stung like hell. How the mighty have fallen. Like you're one to talk, Sasuke. I spat out. If I recall correctly, I stomped you to the ground. I thought you wanted to settle the score with me. What happened to that, huh? From the shadows, I saw a figure emerge from darkness and I knew it was him. He was always one for flashy entrances. Just like the time during our first Shunin exams. Appearing in a shunshin and capturing everyone's attention with it. Even I had to admit, I was pretty jealous when he did it. Back when I was just a hyperactive, no good, pranking idiot in an orange jumpsuit. I still couldn't believe that one time in my life. I thought it was the coolest thing since ramen. This isn't about me, Dobi, and you know it. I struggled against the metallic chains, hoping to break free. The last time I was here, I had the help of Kyuubi. Strangely enough, he really detested the idea of being locked in this place. Stop struggling. It's useless. You don't have Kyuubi anymore. You're nothing but a broken man. A broken, pathetic man, who had his dreams crushed, his soul tortured, his life became meaningless. He casually strolled around me, a blade in hand. It's sad, really. You claimed that I've fallen into darkness, but yet, you probably know the feeling better than I do. We are the same, you and I. Both of us actually stepped into the darkness, but only one of us managed to tame it. You lie, I replied, venom in my voice. I swear, Tem, when this ends, I'm going to rip you to shreds. He laughed and swung his sword, nicking me across the chest. I'm not the liar here. You just refuse to believe the truth. Now where did that go, happy idiot that I used to know, go? The one who used to scream about becoming the Hokage. I said nothing, but the expression on my face was murderous. How dare he try to lecture me? How dare the filthy traitor try to act if he was better than me? He knows nothing of the pain that I went through. Tell me, Dobi, where did he go? Sasuke asked. He held the sword up, and for a split second, the look in his eyes answered my unasked question. I couldn't hold it in when he suddenly stabbed the sword through the right side of my chest. A few seconds later, the wound disappeared and two more swords appeared in his hands. He didn't bother waiting and just stabbed me through the ribs this time. Answer me, damn it. I could feel my strength slowly leaving my body and I gasped for air. He's dead, Tem. It's true. My old personality, the one where I used to have dreams about being Hokage, is over. It died the day Akatsuki attacked us. It died along with everyone else. You're full of shit, idiot. Sasuke retorted as he stabbed me again in my legs and my arms. The Dobi that I used to know wouldn't have given up. He didn't give up when he fought with his life to bring me back. To pull me away from the darkness. And why do you care where that idiot went? I snarled back. It's not like anyone cared. He was hurting for weeks, and did anyone bother to come check up on him? No. No one even bothered to see if he was dead or alive. Sasuke shook his head. You wanted me to come knock on your door to check up on you? Are you frickin' kidding me? I'm a goddamn ninja, not your babysitter who has nothing but time to listen to your damn problems. If you wanted help, go see a shrink because I have better things to do. I will not speak for the rest of those idiots, but I do not care for pathetic people. Why don't you crawl out of that little pitiful hole you call a life and show me where that man went? Rage filled my eyes, and I continued to struggle against these illusionary yet solid iron chains. I was done listening to him. Forget about the wounds on my body. Just focus on getting free from here. Focus on connecting my fist with his face. Ignore his taunts. Focus on only one thing. His face. Concentrate. Bite me, Tem, I said. My body jerked around, trying to break free of these restraints. If this is your way of patching things up between us, then you must be delusional. I don't need anyone's help. I refuse to let anyone help me. Then, I'm sorry, Naruto, Sasuke replied, his eyes staring straight at me. I never wanted for this to happen, but you forced my hand here. I wanted to pull you out of the darkness just like how you did for me, but I see that you're too far gone. I can't help you anymore. My eyes widened. What the hell does that mean? Sasuke shook his head and sighed. It means that I'm going to you. Lightning once more engulfed his hand. The loud humming sound filled my ears, and I shook my head. With my new abilities, if you die here, it's like dying in reality. I'm truly sorry, Naruto, but I can't let you walk down this path anymore. This ends here. He rammed his hand through my chest. Lightning surged through my body, pain causing every organ and limb in my system to spasm and shake. Oh God, it really feels like I'm being burned alive from the inside out. For the first few seconds, I tried to endure it, gritting my teeth, stop screaming. I keep telling myself that this is nothing new. I've been through much worse. Seconds became minutes as the pain continued to increase and I couldn't take it anymore. A blood-curdling scream escaped from my lips and I could almost feel my body giving out. I was almost ready to pass out, or die, whatever came first. I have no regrets. Everything that I've done so far was for the benefit of the village and others. So why do I feel so guilty? Images starting flying before my eyes, and I instantly recognize these images. I see Tsunade being heartbroken. Shizune crying on the floor. Kakashi in a stage of depression. And more surprisingly, I see Hanabi, crying on my grave, tears flowing down her beautiful face. The grief she was experiencing. No, my mind screamed. I can't leave her behind like this. Not after everything that we've been through. Live. My eyes suddenly jerked open and Sasuke took a step back, surprised by the sudden movement. The lightning slowly dissipated from his hand and shock was written across his face. It's never over, Tem, I replied, panting heavily for hair. Even if you keep knocking me down, I'll keep getting back up. You can stab me, pierce me, burn me, and whatever else you can think of, I will always keep getting back up. With a huge effort, I yanked myself free, breaking the iron bonds that held me in place. Illusions are nothing but ideas implanted into the victim's head to suppress their will, but if the victim's will is stronger than the caster's, then it makes the illusion obsolete. I was lost before Sasuke, but somehow, you managed to do the one thing that I couldn't do, and that was to show me the way back. Sasuke shook his head. Shut it, Dobi. I didn't do this for you. I did it for me. The only reason why I entered this competition was to fight you. Did you honestly think I give a damn about what the mud or anyone else thinks? Hell no. Ever since you dropped off the map like a pathetic loser, there was no one else that could keep up with me. Not even Kakashi. I only wanted to fight you at your best, not at your worst. He looked around and sighed. Looks like we'll have to continue this outside. The world of Tsukuyomi suddenly came crumbling down, and the next thing I know, we were back in the outside world. I instantly dropped to my knees, the same with Sasuke. The both of us felt the strain on our bodies, but I could see a smirk on his face. I think that was the closest thing to a smile, but I'll take it. He was right. As I looked around, I didn't see the world in the shades of gray anymore. Sure, there are people out there that wanted me dead, and I was still a pariah in the village, but I didn't care anymore. Nothing else mattered as long as I have people who still believed in me. Particularly someone who was standing there on the field with me now. She stood there, looking worried, and tears threatened to spill out of her beautiful face. I just wanted to walk over there, to wipe those tears off and promise her that everything will be alright. More than that, I wanted to give her a hug, to feel her in my embrace one more. But that would have to wait. I have a score to settle with the self-proclaimed pompous who thinks that no one could keep up with him. It was time to settle this. I looked at Sasuke and saw that he already had the eternal Sharingan activated. I chuckled and closed my eyes. I began to feel for the nature around me, drawing their energies from the surrounding area. Fukasaku always praised me that I was nothing like Jiraiya, and I took that compliment in stride. I had nothing against my master, but from what I heard, he was more of an airhead than me. Where it took him a few years to master or even attempt to master this art, I finished it in a couple of months. He's probably up there grumbling about how there were more important things in life than becoming ugly, like seeing those amazing women bouncing up and down as they frolic in the waters. Susanoo! Sasuke yelled. Yusaka no Magatama. I didn't need to open my eyes to feel the dark chakra that surrounded Sasuke. I already knew his version of the attack. I could hear everyone gasping at the amount of chakra that was being generated into that attack. My hands quickly formed the familiar signs and a pair of clones appeared, both already in sage mode. My eyes opened and his attack came flying at me. I've seen both Uchihas perform this technique, but only one of them ever used it on me. I barely got away last time, but today, I was ready. Senpo! Udama Rasengan! I shouted as two fully charged stage 4 Rasengan appeared in my hands. I leapt towards the incoming attack and shoved my attack against it. Jutsu versus Jutsu. I pumped even more power into my attack, and before I knew it, the attack exploded, causing dust and debris to fly all over the place. Taking advantage of the smokescreen, two more clones popped into existence. While the Uchiha covered his eyes, my plan was already in motion. If Sasuke and everyone thought that Chidori and Reikiri made loud chirping noises, they haven't seen anything yet. Hanabi's Pav. Ibiki was right. Putting my faith into Naruto was the right thing to do. As much as it pained me to see him getting hurt out there because of me, I needed to believe in him. I have to believe that he would come back to me. That's why I almost lost it when the Uchiha used that technique on him. I knew what it did to a person, and I couldn't bear the idea that it was happening to Naruto. I couldn't even begin to imagine just what kind of torture and pain he went through while trapped in that genjutsu. While it lasted a few seconds, it must have felt like a lifetime for him. There was nothing to be ashamed about. I had the right to be worried about him. After all, he's my partner. When they both suddenly dropped down to their knees, my worrying increased and tears started to form in my eyes. I struggled to hold them back but failed miserably. No more, I silently pled. Please Naruto, you don't have to do this anymore. I didn't want to watch this anymore. This was no longer a competition between fighters, it felt more like I was watching them fight to the death. Stop it. Please. I whispered, my arms clutched to my sides. I can't, Hanabi. Ibiki answered. He must have overheard me. Those are the rules set forth by the Hokage himself. If neither of them is in any mortal danger, they will continue to fight until one gives up. Mortal danger. Do our standards even apply to those two? I half shouted. You have the last Uchiha with the most powerful Dujutsu in this village against the man who single-handedly ended the Fourth Great Shinobi War. There is no such thing as a friendly competition between those two. It's not my decision to make. He growled. I'm sure Kakashi will step in if needed. That didn't sound reassuring. I didn't know who he was trying to convince, me or himself. You think the Hokage will be able to stop that? I shouted when I saw Susanoo appear on the field, surrounding Sasuke. How the hell is he going to do that? I literally grabbed Ibiki by his dark trench coat and pulled him down to my eye level. I swear upon all the gods in this world, if anything happens to Naruto out there, you better pray that you can sleep with one eye open because I'll be coming for you and I won't be alone. I'm sure Tsunade-sama will want to have a word with you as well. For both your Sake and Kakashi's, you better end this match now. Ibiki started to say, stammering as if he was trying to get words out. I leaked out some intent, wanting to get my point across. You're so dead. I shouted at Ibiki as I watched Naruto formed a pair of giant Rasengans before leaping towards the attack that Susanoo just launched. The attack collided head-on, the explosion causing dust to fly everywhere. The force of it forced all of us to take a step back and cover our eyes, but Sasuke was sent skidding backwards. I waited for any signs of my partner, but as the dust continued to blanket the field, everyone held on to their breath, including me as well. Seconds continued to tick and my eyes were still searching the field. Even if he was caught up in the explosion, the law of gravity should have taken effect and his body should have hit the ground by now. Unless my eyes widened, trying to keep my emotions intact. He couldn't have just been vaporized. I didn't want to believe that ludicrous notion. I needed to keep looking. Maybe the noise of the explosion masked the sound of his body hitting the floor. If only I could just ignore the loud screeching sound. God, some people just have no respect for the match, only caring for their own personal entertainment. Just because the stadium was silent does not give anyone the right to introduce their own sound effects. I scrunched up my face, trying to locate Naruto. The sound only grew louder as suddenly, the dust that once covered the arena was expelled and what I saw was Naruto holding is something that could only be described as beautiful. It was magnificent. The attack reminded me of the pinwheel toy that I had when I was younger. It was actually spinning in his hands, like a fan in motion. He landed on top of the Uchiha, catching him by surprise. His attack mere inches away from his neck. Do you yield? Naruto asked, his voice echoing throughout the arena. Sasuke merely nodded, his eyes locked onto Naruto's attack. It's funny, now that I think about it. Just a few years back, I was standing here in the same stadium for my Chunin exams against Neji, and back then when I won, I was treated with a standing ovation. Given that I was just a brat who wanted to be acknowledged, I soaked it up like a sponge, running around and yelling about how I kicked Neji's. It was awesome. Now, it's the total opposite. The very people who once cheered for me remained silent, some had a look of disgust on their face and others just didn't care enough to acknowledge anything. Regardless, I didn't care. I wasn't expecting any kind of applause anyway. Why would I? I mean, who would want to cheer for someone like me? That's the way, Gaki. Way to go on showing everyone just who has the biggest balls in the village. I cringed, retracting my earlier thoughts. On second thought, Having no one cheer for me was better than having them do it. Never again will I let them come drunk to any public events, or allow them to have any alcoholic beverages in their possession. Period. No way Tsunade-sama. Not just in the village. In all the nations. Anko yelled, laughter erupting from those two. You morons. You can't beat him. Naruto-sama is the greatest ever. Go take your sorry back home and cry to your mamas. I looked away, embarrassed by the declaration, and saw Sasuke already leaving the field, clearly amused with the situation. That rat bastard, I know you're enjoying the little outburst that those two are making. I clutch my fists, trying to keep myself from going up there and knocking them out. Get off the field, Uzumaki. Ibiki shouted. I have to get the field ready for the next fight. Of course, Ibiki. I replied, nodding to the stoic man as I made my way over to Hanabi. I saw her, from the corner of my eye the entire time during the match. I saw what happened to her and I felt responsible. What was I supposed to say to her? Sorry that you had to see me like that. Please don't be afraid of me. I sighed, unsure of what to say. 100 different ways to approach and diffuse this awkward situation, and the only word that I utter was, hi. She turned her head and without warning, slapped me across the face. It took a brief second before my mind registered the pain. My hand instantly went up to my cheek, feeling the spot where she slapped me, and my heart started to slow down. The pain of regret came back and my eyes hardened. Before I got a chance to respond, Hanabi hugged me, her arms wrapped tightly around my waist. Don't ever do that to me again, Naruto. Hanabi shouted, her voice muffled by my shirt. If I had to choose between keeping you alive and winning this stupid competition, I would gladly lose this and all future competitions just to get you back in one piece. She continued to hug me tighter, burying her face into my chest. My eyes softened and I sighed, I'm sorry, Hanabi. I want to tell you about the pains that I get, the sleepless nights where I can still hear them criticizing me for my failures. The tears that come at night when I feel the burden on my shoulders, suffocating me without a second thought. I want to tell you everything, but I can't. I just can't. It wouldn't be fair for someone like you, someone who is so innocent, to be associated with the likes of me. It just wouldn't be fair to you. I'm so sorry. I could feel her nodding her head, and I inwardly smiled. Pulling her closer, I summoned some chakra and disappeared in a shunshin. Reappearing inside the hallway, a couple of feet shy from the entrance to the stadium, I looked down, seeing the little bundle that currently had a death grip on me. Let's go get some rest, okay? Who knows how long the next match would be? We have to be ready. I don't care. She released her death grip on me and I found myself missing the proximity between us. It was stupid of me, to be actually having these feelings, but it was inevitable. The attraction, the chemistry between us was clear as day. I think it's only a matter of time before one of us got tired of this little game that we're playing. Her hand was then on my face, gently touching the spot where her hand slapped me. I'm so sorry, Naruto. I flinched slightly, but I shook my head. No, I deserved it. I shouldn't have scared you like that. What she did next caught us by surprise, me more than her, I assume. Maybe it was in the moment kind of thing, but when she leaned forward and I felt her lips on my cheek, there was this good feeling inside of me. I don't know what it was, something that I've never felt before. And why do I feel my cheeks burning? Thank you. Hanabi quietly replied, her cheeks blushing red. For everything. I merely nodded, my throat pretty much dry, and was unable to find the words to respond to her. I told myself earlier on that there was this line that I absolutely cannot cross, and what did I just do? I crossed over that line and disappeared over the horizon. Hell, I was so far gone that I can't even see the line anymore. The line is a dot to me. Earth to Naruto. Hanabi said, giggling as she found this situation amusing. No, no, no. My mind started accelerating, my thoughts racing all over the place. This shouldn't be happening. If Neji was alive, he would have been the first one to jucken me to death and then somehow bring me back to life only to jucken me once more. Ah, the unintelligent words that came out of my mouth. Duh. I don't know why, but she had the biggest smile on her face for some reason. Did she like seeing me like this? Looking a fish out of water. Come on, let's get you to the medics. I want to make sure you're in good condition before we have to compete again. I blinked, letting her grab my hand as she led me down the hall. There was this warm tingling sensation ever since the moment we made contact, and I know she felt it because of the blush that's still on her face and how she attempted to look at me from the corner of her eye. Looking down at our hands, I couldn't help but think. Was it already too late to go back? Hanabi's pav. Even though I went ahead and gave him a kiss on the cheek, I couldn't stop myself from blushing. No many how many times I scolded myself to stop. My body wouldn't listen. I don't know what compelled me to kiss him like that. I would have rather gone for the lips, but knowing Naruto, doing something that bold would have driven him away. That's the last thing that I wanted. Over the past few months, I found myself growing closer to him, which was perfectly normal for partners to develop some kind of bond, but this goes beyond that. I've been on teams, formed bonds with different members of the opposite, but this was something new. Naruto was different from everyone else. He didn't have an ego complex like most guys out there, nor was he selfish, thinking of only himself. I know the stories and rumors surrounding him, but I didn't care. If Tsunade-sama and Anko didn't care, why should I? I know. I'm a Hyuga and there's certain pretenses that I need to live by, but just seeing the way those two live. Away from the drama, ignoring the gossip, I couldn't help but admire them. My only hope was that someday, I could achieve half of what they have. And when I looked down, at our clasped hands, that dream didn't seem that far away. Hanabi. I heard someone calling my name and I turned my head, recognizing my sister and her partner. I felt Naruto tense up, the way his grip suddenly tightened, and I knew something was wrong. I looked at him and silently asking if he was okay. He closed his eyes and nodded his head, an indication that he was okay, but I didn't believe it. How are you, Hanabi? Hinata asked, her partner Ten giving me small wave. I heard you won the first round and you managed to settle the old Byakugan versus Sharingan debate. It was nothing, I replied, not really caring for this little small talk. Don't you have a match to prepare for, sister? Nope. Ten answered, Ino and Sakura should be here soon. We're just having a friendly competition between us females to see who has improved the most. It's a shame you couldn't team up with Anko. It would have been interesting. Ten. Hinata. Ino's loud boastful voice echoed through the hallway as they made their way over. Great. There's more of them. I politely smiled at the new arrivals, but inside, I was seething. Can't they see that I didn't want to be here, making small talk? I sighed. Of all the people that we had to run into, it's the two biggest gossips in the village. And how come none of them was greeting Naruto? Like, what the hell? It's not like he was invisible or anything, and I'm positive they saw us holding hands. Are they dense or just ignorant? I don't know if anyone ever answered that question. Oh, hello, Hanabi. That was an amazing match out there. I can't believe you were able to go head to head with Sasuke-kun. Sakura said, gushing about the match. Ino Pig here was pouting the entire time, wishing that it was her that was facing against Sasuke-kun. Shove it, forehead. Ino retorted, I just wanted to see how much I've improved, and what better way than facing the best in the village. And are you saying that I'm not good enough for you, Ino? Ten interrupted, her arms crossed against her chest. Ten, I'm sure that's not what I injected, trying to end this conversation as soon as possible. I shifted my eyes towards Naruto, who was just standing there quietly. Oh my god, Hanabi. Are you okay? Sakura stepped forward and shoved Naruto away, breaking the only contact that I had with him. She grabbed my arm and it was then that I noticed that I had some small buzzing on my arm. Probably from the contact from Sasuke's punches. I guess I never noticed it until now. Everyone then cluttered around, my sister looking especially concerned. Despite all their fusing, I found myself shoving them all away. With the way they were crowding around me and grabbing me like some kind of doll pissed me off. I can deal with Sakura doing it since she was a nurse, but I couldn't deal with the fact that all of them just shoved Naruto away. Almost if he was trash that people throw away without a second thought. And that did not sit well with me. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Do you not see that I'm with Naruto? I shouted, anger evident in my voice. How can you just shove him like that, Sakura? He's standing right there. So what? She replied and rolled her eyes. It's just him. Did she just say that? Tell me she just didn't say that. Oh hell no. I saw that Naruto was leaning against the wall, this expression unreadable, but I knew firsthand just how much it hurt. When people just ignore you and pretend like you don't exist. Sakura, are you just pretending to be stupid or are you really mentally slow to comprehend even the basic things? I heard them gasp from my language, but I didn't care. They interrupted my time with Naruto and they had the audacity to just shove him and pretend he's not there. Hanabi, it's fine. I heard him whisper. I'm just going to go for a walk. No, I yelled, surprising everyone including him. I shoved Sakura and pushed my way over to Naruto, glaring at him. Where the hell do you think you're going? Away, he said quietly. I forgot that I need to speak to Ibiki about something. I can see the pain in his eyes, the same pain that I recall seeing in Anko's whenever we pass through the market area. She doesn't talk about it, but I still notice. If you walk away, I will castrate you. Don't think I won't. I threatened. He let out a small whimper and I grabbed his hand, forcing him to stay. Turning around, I refocused my glare at the other four. Apologize, Sakura. I demanded. All of you should be ashamed of yourselves. You're no better than scum by the way you're acting. I've seen dogs treat their kind better than you do. No, I will not. The medic responded. I have nothing to say to this filth. Hanabi. My sister stepped forward. I recognized that tone. It was the same tone father used on us when we stepped out of line. It is you who should be apologizing. You're still young, naive and have no understanding of the world, so when I say this, I only say it because I care for you. Do not associate yourself with the likes of this man. I went as far as overlooking the fact that you chose him to be your partner, but I cannot and absolutely will not approve of your relationship with him. Approve? Are you kidding me? Since when do I need your approval to do something, sister? Hanabi. We're only looking out for you. You have no idea what he did. Ten said, stepping in front of Sakura. We just don't want to see you hurt. Or worst, dead. You're too young to understand fully of the crimes he committed, the atrocities and suffering he caused, so please take it from us, who know him personally, stay away from him if you don't want to end up stabbed in the back. Ino added, her back facing Naruto. Take it from a sweetie, there are a lot of other guys out there, much better suited for you than this one. Ino sweetie. I sweetly replied, why don't you go bash your head against the wall a couple of more times? I don't think you're retarded enough just yet. Consequences be damned. I'm done standing here listening to these unimportant idiots bash Naruto. I know he would have just taken them in stride, but not me. I'm Hyuga Hanabi, who trained under Mitarashi Anko, known to be the badass of the village. If there's anything that I learned from her, it's that you don't mess with us. Hinata-sama. I called out to my sister respectfully. She raised her brow in question. I appreciate all the things that you've done for me so far, so I'll say this once. Ino, Sakura, 1010, you guys should listen to this as well. If you do manage to make it to the finals and I don't hear an apology from all of you, be prepared because I'm not going to come at you with the intent to. I'm going to come at you with the intent to maim. If I get a chance, I will cripple you without a second thought. This is a promise, and remember, I was Anko's best student. Stop this nonsense at once, Hanabi. My sister finally said, after voicing her earlier thoughts. You are a Hyuga, and as a Hyuga, there are rules within the clan that we must uphold, and by associating yourself with this thing, you are disgracing our name. If father was still alive, he would be so disappointed in you, like I am now. Where are your morals, Hanabi? The values that we were raised with. Were we not taught to distance ourselves from people who are not worth our time? I can almost guarantee you that if you continue your association with him, you will not get far in life. You are committing career suicide, and I, for one, will not let that happen to you. The other girls nodded, agreeing with my sister. So they think it's career suicide, huh? Then what about Tsunade-sama, huh? And Hokage-sama? I shot back. Did they commit career suicide as well? You full well know that your argument is moot, Hanabi. Tsunade-sama is a well-known political figure with the power to crush anyone who dares oppose her, and Kakashi is, well, Kakashi. Sakura replied. Only a fool would dare to cross them. And only a fool would dare to cross me. Hanabi. My sister let out an exasperated sigh. Why are you being such a spoiled little brat? Just let your older sister take care of you. We're family, you and I, and it is my job to look out for my younger sister. Well, excuse me for being younger than you, sister. I growled. I am terribly sorry for the inconvenience that I've caused you, but I don't need your help. I am perfectly fine, and if you can't tell, happy, being with Naruto. The four of them shook their head, clearly not understanding my situation. That is enough. Everyone turned around, surprised to see Naruto standing there with an angry scowl on his face. I know that I'm worse than scum, filth, as Sakura kindly put it, but still, do not forget who you are addressing. I am Naruto Uzumaki, the savior and the container of the Kyuubi. I will accept my punishment with no ill will, but do not think for a moment that I will not hesitate to strike back if you dare hurt those around me. What the hell gives you the right to say any of those things? Do you think you're better than Hanabi? Because if you do, then I want a chance to prove you wrong. I found myself shivering from the raw power that Naruto was emitting, and while the other four was pretending to ignore it, standing their ground, I found myself slightly aroused by the way his commanding aura. Yes, it was wrong, but I can't help it. He was hot. I knew that the first time I've seen him shirtless, and I scolded myself for having those thoughts, but what can a girl do besides lick her lips and dream? Jiraiya once told me something, that just because your blood doesn't make you family, it's a right that you have to earn. By all rights, Hanabi has proven herself that she has the blood of the Hyuga but the pride of the Namikaze clan. I'm telling you this right now, she is under my protection, and if you dare try anything, you'll be sorry that you crossed me. Is that a threat, scum? Hinata asked. No, not a threat. A promise, Hinata-chan. Naruto answered. And it goes for the rest of you as well. This isn't a damn talk. This is an attack on Hanabi, and I won't stand for it. Then leave. Sakura coolly retorted. Can't you see? This entire episode, this fight, started because of you. If you weren't here, none of us would be arguing with Hanabi. If you weren't in this village, none of those people would have died. I gasped, shocked that she would bring up the past. Everyone here, including me, has lost someone from that war, and back then, I blamed Naruto for this, but I've changed. I was no longer the vindictive person that I was, and all it took was for one person to prove it to me. I don't really understand how someone could blame Naruto for it. Yeah, I had a personal grudge against him, but in the end, I've forgiven him. But why are these people, the very same people who grew up with him, holding on to this grudge harder than me? I knew Sakura crossed the line, with the way Naruto reacted. Or in a sense, not reacting at all. Fine. That was his only reply as he started walking away. I stood there, speechless as he just walked away like that. Why didn't he try to defend himself? What the hell is with you guys? I yelled. How can you do that to someone who you once called a comrade? The man went through hell and back for this village, and this is how you treat him? All you disgust me. You don't understand anything, Hanabi. It would be wise if you kept your mouth shut. Hinata coldly replied, narrowing her eyes at me. Or what? I challenged. Are you going to put the seal on me, sister dear? Or are you going to exile me from the clan? Because at this point, I'd rather be with Naruto than with anyone else here. I took off, not caring if I was acting like an immature 4-year-old, but I didn't care. I needed to find Naruto, make him understand that not everyone out there is like them. At his mental state, who knows what he's liable to do? I didn't have to look far, taking note that Naruto only walked off far enough so that no one could see him, but he was well within hearing distance in case things got out of hand, if they haven't already. He was just sitting there, on the floor with his head buried into his arms. I crouched down in front of him, a small smile on my face. I knew he could have gone anywhere, given his abilities, but he chose to stay here, near me. Naruto. It's me. I know, he replied, not looking up. I'm sorry again. I didn't mean for that to happen. It's just that I couldn't keep quiet any longer when they started attacking you. He looked up, his cerulean eyes looking at me, and I couldn't help but blush. Why does he do this to me every time? The way he looks at me like I'm the only person that matters in this world. You know, from the moment I met you, I knew you were special, Hanabi. Naruto explained. I thought about it for a while now, wondering why that out of all the people Neji chose to say with his final words, he specifically mentioned you, so I'm not the only one. You must have meant the world to him, and now, you mean the world to me. I would die before anything happened to you, and well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, you can't get rid of me that easily. Oh crap, were those tears in my eyes? I quickly blinked, hoping that Naruto wouldn't notice me tearing. There's still a lot of things you don't know about me, things that you might have heard as rumors. Some might be true, some might not be, but Hanabi, if you give me a chance, and that's if you only want it, I will gladly sit down and talk about my past. Not just recent events, but everything. If you ask me, I'll answer. That did it. Tears were now falling down my cheeks, and I found myself sniffling. Of course, I heard the rumors about him, the demon that he is, lying and stealing and backstabbing his way to the top, but I didn't believe it. Not anymore. It was impossible for someone as kind and caring as Naruto to do things like that. I felt his thumb on my cheek, brushing off the stray teardrops. His hands were gentle, treating me if I was a priceless treasure. My heart started pounding and my mind went blank. I felt him tugging a little and I gave in, both of us leaning forward, and I closed my eyes, hoping for the best. It was just a simple thing. The kiss that we share. And I, for one, didn't want to stop. Naruto's paw. Her lips are sweet, like strawberries. I didn't know what compelled me to do it, to pull her in for a kiss, but I'm glad I did. I felt her mouth begging for entrance and I obliged. The line be damned. Neji be damned. I know what I promised you, and you were like a brother to me, but if you're listening, Neji, I swear on my life that if Hanabi is the one for me, I will gladly watch over her until my last dying breath. This is what I swear to you. We kissed for what seemed to be a while now, breaking away when we ran out of air. She tried to pull away, trying to her blush, but I didn't let her. I held her steady, a smile on my face. Where do you think you're going? I asked. Nowhere. She mumbled and I chuckle. I pull her in for a hug, which she didn't resist. I heard her sigh and I continued to smile. We stayed like that for a while now, ignoring the loud cheering from the crowd. Judging from the noise, the next match was probably underway. Are you ready, Hanabi? I asked. Yeah, let's go, she replied. I stood up and held my hand out for her, which she gladly accepted. We walked to the medical area, our fingers still intertwined by the time we got there. I don't regret it, Hanabi, I said, speaking up. If I had to go through life again, and face the same bullshit and then meet you, I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I too, you dummy, she replied, staring at me with a slight tinge in her cheeks. We sat there, waiting for a medic to stop by, but I didn't care. I just wanted to cherish this moment, because I don't know when I will another chance like this. What are you doing here, Dobi? Sasuke walked through the door, surprised to see the both of us there. None of your business, Uchiha, Hanabi replied, standing in front of me. What does it matter to you? Ah, I guess she still hasn't forgiven him for what went down earlier. Cute, but it was unnecessary. He looked at us, his expression unreadable, but I could tell he was analyzing us. You kissed her. Hanabi's eyes widened, surprised at the sudden declaration. Why would you think we kissed? You can't just say something like that out of the blue. I don't see you denying it, Hyuga. Sasuke shot back, his trademark smirk on his face. And you're still holding hands. I'm not stupid. I just don't flaunt my knowledge like Hirano. I could hear her uttering curses under her breath and I chuckle. What's it to you, Tem? You wanna do something about it? No. Swift and blunt. That's the Sasuke I know. Call her off, Naruto. It's starting to annoying. I rolled my eyes and pulled Hanabi into my arms. It's okay now. We had an understanding. Sort of. I still don't like it, she replied, her eyes still glaring at Sasuke. Believe what you want. Just leave me out of it, and if you guys start making out, please do me a favor and close the curtains. I'm traumatized enough already. Smart, maybe I should let Hanabi have another go at him. At least he's getting some. Hanabi answered and I choked, coughing at her response. Where the hell did that just come from? Sounds like a line from Anko's book. I could hear the bastard snickering from here and I felt myself blushing. Oh, I'm so jealous that the Dobi finally got some. Someone stop the world. It's a damn national holiday. Oh, why don't you? Okay. That's enough. I easily turned her around and kissed her, catching her by surprise, but she welcomed it away. 2 hours later, Konoha Stadium, Naruto's POV. It gives me great pleasure that the winners of the first annual Junin competition is none other than Hyuga Hanabi and Uzumaki Naruto. Kakashi announced, his eyes twinkling in amusement. People started to clap, not for me but for her, and I could hear the wildcat calls, courtesy of Tsunade and Anko. Seriously, how can Kakashi let them sit there drunk? And why are they still drinking? There has to be a law about this. I took a step back and let Hanabi stand up there, enjoying the moment. I was proud of her, of what she became in a few short weeks. She turned around, confusion on her face when she realized that I wasn't standing next to her. She gestured for me to come back up, but I shook my head. This was her spotlight, not mine. Shaking her head, she reached back and grabbed my arms, intertwining her fingers once more and tugged me forward. I gave her a small grin which she gladly returned. No words needed to be spoken between us. It was unnecessary. Before I conclude this event, I was told that Tsunade-sama had an announcement to make. I turned my head, surprise written across my face, and I groaned. This cannot end well. Why? Why did she have to make an announcement now? Hanabi chuckled. It can't be that bad, Naruto. You don't know her like I do. I muttered, a sinking feeling in my stomach. Hello all. Tsunade shouted into the microphone. I know Kakashi here has a huge prize lined up for those two, but I'm going to one-up him. That's right, I'm going to outdo our Hokage. Instead of giving more training sessions, I'm going to invite the winners to spend a week in Suna with me. All expense paid. Hanabi's eyes widened and she started to smile. Like a big smile. I catch Tsunade's eyes and there was this evil gleam in her eye, something that promises unspeakable doom for me. Are you sure you want to go? You know it's not too late to turn back, right? That would be rude, Naruto, after all the trouble Tsunade-sama went through to set this up. Hanabi replied, a stern look on her face. Besides, I think it'll be fun. I opened my mouth to respond, but before I could, she cut me off. And don't even think about using a cage bushin to get out of it. I immediately closed my mouth, wondering how she knew about my escape plan. But, no, I sighed, taking another step towards the imminent doom that was waiting for me. Gotta think fast. What can I do to stop this from happening? Don't get me wrong, I would like nothing more than to spend time with Hanabi and Ba-chan, but just not with the both of them at the same time. Forget about all the suicide missions and numerous death matches that I experienced so far in my life. Those things are nothing compared to the embarrassing stories that Ba-chan has on me. From the moment I heard we were having dinner with her, it could only end in two ways. With me dying from embarrassment or me dying from Ba-chan's cooking. Why don't we get her a bottle of sake? I asked, trying to delay the trip. We can't turn up empty-handed. That would be rude. I know a great stand that's about 15 minutes away. Hanabi merely smiled at me and with her left hand, pulled out a scroll. My eyes drifted through it and I coughed, slightly choking from the information written on it. Are you kidding me? How do you even know someone like him? She giggled and pocketed the scroll. Well, considering that he's my godfather, I should know him pretty well. I stared at her, shocked at the news. Tokage Himura is your godfather? Yup, she answered, kissing me on the cheek. I'm glad that someone like me is able to make the great Uzumaki Naruto speechless. What are the chances? 1 in a million, no 1 in a billion that my girlfriend has Tokage Himura as her godfather. Not only is that man known throughout the elemental nations as the finest sake maker, he is also known as the master of the drunken fist style. I'm not speechless, just caught off guard. I muttered, my fingers still intertwined with hers. Don't you think giving her a bottle of Tokiji's finest sake is going over the top? It was a weak excuse, but I'm desperate. I don't know what else to do. Hanabi rolled her eyes. My godfather has more than enough sake to last him 3 lifetimes, 1 less won't him. Besides, in exchange for this 1 bottle, we're going to be having dinner with him when we're in Suna and what? I'm meeting your godfather. What kind of crap is this? Meet the family week. I completely stopped walking, my system still in complete shock. Hanabi felt my fingers slip out of her hand and she turned around, an amused smile on her face. Are you that nervous, Naruto? She coyly asked. If you are, I can always ask him to drop by Konoha and we can all sit down together. You, me, Tsunade. She left the thought hanging in the air, but the impact was immediate. No, I shouted, absolutely not. When hell freezes over will I let Ba-chan know about this. Promise me you'll never mention this to her. Hanabi giggled and walked up to me, wrapping her arms around my neck. He's important to me, Naruto. Just 1 dinner with him. I sighed and nodded my head. Fine, but in exchange, whatever happens tonight stays between us. You will not judge me nor will you tell anyone about anything. Not even Anko. Deal. I held out my hand, wanting a handshake to seal this agreement. Deal. Instead of the traditional handshake that I was expecting, she ended up sealing the deal with a kiss, not that I was complaining. Ever since our first kiss back in the competition, I found myself drawn to her more and more every day. There was something about her that's ing me in. I had crushes before, feelings about girls back in my childhood days, but what I feel for Hanabi, it's something that I can't describe, but I know for a fact that what I'm feeling for her is different, and that excites me. The more time we spent together, the more I felt my restraints giving in, and I felt myself longing for her touch, her lips on mine. It was like a hunger that I can't seem to satisfy. Wow, I said, after pulling away for air. I could still see the faint pink tinge on her cheeks, and I chuckle. That's one way to seal a deal. I agree, Hanabi answered, her eyes looking into mine. I couldn't help but smile, pulling her a little closer to me. I took a deep breath, the smell of jasmine infiltrating my senses. I don't know what happened just now, but just seeing her made me lean forward, connecting our lips for a second time. Hanabi's pav. We are so late. I can't believe that we spent the last 10 minutes making out, in front of Tsunade-sama's house no less. Just the way his lips felt on mine was enough to give me goosebumps. We need to hurry up, Naruto, I said, dragging my reluctant boyfriend through the gates. She won't mind, Hanabi, I swear, he answered, slowly taking his time to reach the door. I couldn't help but smile at his antics. It would seem like my boyfriend is nervous to have dinner with Tsunade-sama after all. Are you sure you're okay? I asked, taking delight in his fidgeting. She's not going to eat you alive, Naruto. Tsunade-sama is a very nice person. No, she's not, he quickly replied, his tone hushed. You don't know her like I do. You see her as this perfect role model for womankind, but underneath that exterior lies a sinister person. She drinks, she gambles, and she doesn't let go of people's embarrassments. He sighed. But the woman's always been behind me no matter what the situation is. Fine. You win, Hanabi. Let's go ring the bell. I inwardly smiled, celebrating that my persistence finally paid off. It was no easy task, getting Naruto to come here. For the past week, he's been trying to convince me not to come, to turn down the invitation, which naturally meant he was trying to hide something. What he was trying to hide, I didn't know, but that didn't stop me from finding out. At first, I tried the discreet approach, driving the conversation to specific topics that would make him unaware of my plan, but that quickly went south when I found myself on top of him, my hands on his chest. To this day, I still blush at that particular memory. Once I realized that discretion wouldn't work with Naruto, I went for the direct approach. Of course, he merely turned the tables against me, and what was supposed to be my interrogation turned out to be me ranting about the lack of high-ranking female officials in Konoha. It was only after I went home that I realized what really happened. Just as he was about to ring the bell, the door quickly opened with the host of the house standing before us. Hanabi. Brat. It's about time that you guys show up. What happened? Did you guys get lost on the way here? Tsunade-sama. I properly greeted. Please excuse our lateness. We had an issue that needed to be dealt with first. Ba-chan. Naruto replied, his arms folded against his chest. Naruto. I hissed, my face growing red with embarrassment from his lack of respect. Don't call her that. Tsunade snorted. Don't mind him, Hanabi. He's been calling me that since he was little. If I couldn't change his mind then, I certainly cannot change his mind now. Although, with you being in his life now, maybe I can finally get some respect out of the brat. Was that an approval from her? My eyes darted to Naruto, who merely rolled his eyes, but he nodded his head. Smiling, I bowed my head once more. I will try, Tsunade-sama. This actually means a lot to me, to get Tsunade-sama's approval. I've never been this far in a relationship where I would meet my boyfriend's parents, but seeing as how Tsunade-sama is the closest thing to one for Naruto, it was basically the same thing in my mind. I'm not going to lie, I was probably more nervous than Naruto. From what Kurenai told me, she was so lucky she didn't piss on herself when she met the third Hokage, who was Asuma's father. You can call me Tsunade Hanabi. Just don't make me a real grandmother yet, okay? She responded, winking, and I felt my cheeks burning. Are you guys going to stand out there all day or are you going to come in? I started to stutter, surprised at the comment, but I felt Naruto grabbing my hand, leading me inside. Tsunade-sama, it's not like that. I tried explaining, but it was futile. The idea was already in her head. The medic laughed. Oh. Then tell me what kind of business you had standing outside my gate for the past 10 minutes or so. Did you guys find something interesting that made you want to inspect the durability of my wall? I had to fix my shirt, Ba-chan. Naruto replied, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. It got loose on the way here and I didn't want to look like a snob, you know. And I bet Hanabi found what she was looking for inside your shirt, right? Or was that on the side of your neck? I quickly turned my head, my eyes focused on his neck, and what I saw continued to set my cheeks on fire. There on the side on his neck was a hickey that I gave him just outside Tsunade-sama's house, and since we got caught up in our little makeout session, I forgot to check to see if I left any sort of mark on him. It looks like Hanabi branded you as hers, Naruto. Tsunade laughed, her hands clutching her stomach. And you guys aren't even married yet. Wait until Shizune hears about this. Oh my god, I can't believe me, Hyuga Hanabi, could have been so careless. I wanted to make a good impression on her, and look how well that turned out. She probably thinks that I'm just another girl who's going to use Naruto. I can see it now, she's going to kindly take me into her backyard and beat me senseless. Easy, Ba-chan. Hanabi's new to all this. Don't scare her off with your cruel jokes just yet. Naruto said, pulling me into his embrace. I silently thanked him because if he hadn't done that, I would have been on the floor hyperventilating. Are you okay? I tried to warn you about this side of her. He whispered as Tsunade walked on ahead, a sly grin on her face. I nodded my head, surprised to see this side of the legendary Sannin. The entire image that I had for Tsunade-sama just shattered into a billion pieces. Naruto was right. She wasn't just a Sannin and medic. She was what Anko wanted to be. I shuddered. The thought of Anko eventually turning out to be like Tsunade-sama brought chills down my back. Are you kids coming, or are you actually going to give me my first grandchildren in the hallway? I heard her holler and we quickened our pace, the blush still clearly present by the time we entered the kitchen. When we finally entered the kitchen, I was expecting something ravishing, fit for royalty, but instead, it was the total opposite. Not only did I do a double take on the kitchen, I also did it for the person sitting besides the table. Hokage-sama, I said, stuttering once more. Why is he here? How is he here? I put a hand to my heart, trying to calm itself down. I don't think my heart can take it any more surprises. And what is with that book he's reading? Kakashi's here as well, Naruto exclaimed, letting his head bang against the wall. He quickly recovered and narrowed his eyes. How the hell did you manage to escape the paperwork? I made sure that you would have to stay in the office all day. Oh, that was you? Kakashi asked, his eyebrow raised in curiosity, but his tone dropped several degrees. You caused that huge disturbance in the market that required 20 Anbu personnel to sort out, not to mention 3 teams of genin to clean up. You're responsible for that mess. Nope, not me. Didn't do a damn thing and you have no proof. I dropped my jaw a little, completely caught off guard by the scene before me. Let go of me, Kakashi. I heard Naruto yell, being stuck in a headlock by the Hokage. Don't make me kick your like last time. I was completely speechless, unsure of how to act in a situation like this. My expectations were again shattered. To see the Hokage, who is respected and loved throughout the village, acting like a teenager. You'll get used to it. Tsunade said, holding out a cup of tea for me. This is just their way of saying hello. I graciously took the tea, noticing that it was oolong tea. My favorite. Tsunade-sama, with all due respect, is it all right for Hokage-sama to be here? I asked. Yeah, it's fine. He's probably here to avoid the paperwork. She replied, snorting at the excuse. And to score a free meal. Ah, that's not true, Tsunade. I was able to successfully complete my paperwork on time today. What kind of cage would I be if I didn't use all my available resources? Which meant you used the cage bushin and ditched work. Tsunade asked, smirking as she challenged Kakashi's excuse. What kind of example will you be setting for the future generation of Konoha if people found out? The great kind, he replied, and then he turned his attention to me. I could feel everyone else just standing still, waiting to see what was going to happen next. If we were keeping count, this would be the first time I'm personally meeting the Hokage and the second time that I'm meeting Tsunade-sama. The little girl in me is probably screaming for joy, but the older, mature woman is probably sweating right now. Woe is me. Naruto's pav. Oh, Kakashi finally turned his attention to Hanabi and I could see her squirming under his gaze. Stupid Kakashi, using the same intimidation technique that you used on me when I was a genin. Of course, it would probably be 10 times more effective since he's now the Hokage. I quickly elbowed the man in the stomach, causing him to wince slightly. That hurt, Naruto, he replied, faking injury in his voice. All I wanted was to ask how you guys are doing, seeing as how you two are my favorite couple. I rolled my eyes, scoffing at his lame attempt in finding out the truth. Fine, Kakashi. Just fine, I answered, dodging the question. Then why was Tsunade telling me about you kids doing the dirty out in the hallway earlier? Or was it in her garden rolling around without clothes? I could never get those facts straight. Hanabi spit out her tea, the question catching her by surprise. No Hokage-sama. We weren't doing anything like that. If that's what you want me to believe, Hanabi. Kakashi replied, humor present in his voice. Now tell me, how has our little Naru-chan been treating you? I banged my head on the table, regretting that I didn't get to warn her about my nickname from my childhood years. Naru-chan, Hanabi asked, turning her eyes on me. That's so cute, Naruto. I would have never pictured you as someone who had this kind of nickname. Oh, there were others too, Hanabi, but Naru-chan was a personal favorite among us. Kakashi answered, why, there was this one nickname. My eyes widened, already know which nickname he was going to use. No, haha, just Naru-chan was my only nickname. I quickly shouted, intervening before this got out of hand. Can I call you Naru-chan? Hanabi asked teasingly. Although, I don't think I would use the word little though. I let out a groan, knowing just how this will turn out when we leave this place. I can definitely see Anko's influence on her. If you thought that was cute, let me tell you about the time when I first met our little Naru-chan here. Kakashi said, putting his limited edition Ica Ica Paradise away. Oh, I got stories too. Tsunade added, the tea in her hand forgotten. Oh, how fast our little Naru-chan grows up. No way, I said, gaining everyone's attention. We won't be talking about it. The biggest surprise wasn't from Tsunade or Kakashi since they know I don't like talking about the past, particularly my past, but the surprise came from Hanabi, who had a deep look of regret on her face. I'm sorry, Naruto, she said, regret on her face. I didn't mean to cross the line, but it's just that I like you so much and I don't know who else I can turn to when I want to know more about you. I closed my eyes, guilt now on my conscience once again. I know I could just ask you, but it's not the same. I want to know more about you, Naruto, but I also want to know about you from people who care about you. It wasn't her fault. God, I feel like Anween, all she wanted to do was to understand my past, but a part of me is screaming no. No, that I shouldn't be telling her, or else I would be scaring her off. Okay, I whispered, going against myself to agree with her request. But I will be the one telling the story. Hanabi looked at me carefully, taking my hands into hers. Are you sure? I don't want to push you when you're not ready. I shook my head, disagreeing with her. It was time anyway, right guys? The other two snorted. It's about damn time. Ba-chan answered. Remind me to knock some sense into this brat later, Hanabi. She laughed. The sweet melody of her voice filled my ears and felt myself drawn to her. The song of the siren, as Ero Sennin would put it. He always said that the voice of the woman is never to be underestimated but appreciated. I never understood him when I was younger, since I thought he was just trying to corrupt me, but just hearing her laugh was enough for me to understand his message. My childhood wasn't exactly normal. I wasn't exactly normal either, so I guess it both worked out. I said, chuckling. Growing up as an orphan was something that I don't wish on anyone. You miss out on so many things in life. A mother's hug, a father's pat on the head. You miss out on these little things that others would consider irrelevant. Every day was a struggle for me, mainly due to the guy in my stomach, but because of who I am, prejudice was a common thing for me. The third had tried to make my life easier, visiting me when I was alone, putting Anbu outside my door so I was able to get through the night, which Kakashi, thanks for the birthday present when I was 5. I liked that pinwheel toy. I always thought you knew. I nodded my head. Of course. You were the only person I know that had white hair. You should have covered that with a genjutsu, by the way. More effective. Tsunade laughed. Itted by a 5-year-old. That is so sad, Kakashi. Beaten by a rookie with a half-baked Rasengan is more embarrassing, I would say. Kakashi retorted. And let's not forget about the time he wiped you out in cards with only a 2 and 3 over your 4 of a kind. Lies. Tsunade shouted. He cheated. Laughing to myself, I took Hanabi's hands into mine, feeling the warmth and comfort coming from her. She leaned forward and kissed me, catching everyone by surprise. After a wolf call from Tsunade, we broke apart, with her head leaning against my shoulder. What was that for? I whispered. No reason, she replied, and gestured me to continue. I let out a small cough, moving onward to my genin days. Life did get a little better once I entered the academy and graduated. Not at the top of the class. No one would mistakenly take you for one anyway. You were the dead last of the academy for 2 years straight. Kakashi interjected, causing Hanabi to giggle once more. Well, this dead last caught a traitor and learned an B-rank technique, so it Kakashi. I retorted. Anyway, like I was saying, after I graduated, I was assigned to Team 7, and the rest was history. Idiotic history. Kakashi said. You forgot to mention that we had an Avenger, a fangirl, and a dumbass loudmouth with no talent. I rolled my eyes. Leave it to Kakashi to tell my girlfriend things that I didn't want her to know. Why don't you just tell her about the time I ate a poison blueberry? I'm sure she would get a kick out of that one. I gritted my teeth and smiled, giving Kakashi his small victory. I make a mental note to torture his life at a later point. Ignoring the comment from our resident Cyclops here, after my first genin year, things went south for a bit until Ero Sennin, or Jiraiya, decided to take me on a trip to find Ba-chan here. You were the one who brought back Tsunade-sama? Hanabi asked. Her eyes widened at the surprise. We were told that she accepted some kind of proposal from the council. No, that was me, I softly replied, kissing the top of her head. It almost did me, but I made her see it my way. Aside from being the most stubborn, annoying brat alive, you managed to do the impossible. Tsunade replied, a grin on her face. After I brought her back, I decided that I wasn't strong enough, not yet anyway, and with Akatsuki out from my head, I decided to leave the village, to train and get stronger. But what I didn't know was that Pain, the leader, saw things differently. Instead of taking their time to scout and move discreetly, they came here, tearing up the village, and well, you know what happened. And it wasn't his fault. I don't know why people blamed him for this shit. Ba-chan reached out and gently grabbed Hanabi's hand. It was the mistake of the council to withhold information like this from Kakashi. Hell, if Kakashi knew. It's fine, Tsunade-sama, Hanabi answered. I'm not that same girl anymore. I'm old enough to make my own decision, and it's my decision to stay with Naruto, and besides, I've already forgiven him. I know my cousin well enough that he wouldn't want me to hold a grudge against someone whom he respected. I don't know if Neji-Nisan ever told you, but he really respected you, Naruto. Not as a comrade, but as a friend, a brother. I didn't know that, I answered. I never knew that Neji held me up in such high regards. To me, he wasn't just a friend. He was a brother that I never had. Even though he was a year older than me, it didn't feel that way. The times we talked, the spars that we had, we truly were like brothers. I honor his memory by living my life the way I want it, and I want to be with someone that truly understands me for who I am. You can't find anyone better than our little Naru-chan here. Kakashi said, I think you're right about Naruto here, but let's be clear about one thing. Hanabi answered, a predatory smirk on her face. Oh, and what is that? He's my Naru-chan. I groaned at that nickname, but before I could do anything else, Hanabi tugged on my shirt and I happily complied, capturing her lips once more. Her hands went around my neck, pulling me deeper, while my hands went around her waist, pulling her closer. I could feel the emotions coming from her. Happiness, sadness, love, hope. Thank you, I whispered into her ear. I felt her shiver and I smiled. I'm glad you're here with me. She nodded, leaning her back onto my shoulder. As I looked around, I saw Tsunade sitting there with the biggest smile on her face while Kakashi put down his teacup. It was times like this that I found myself enjoying life, spending it with people that I consider my family. So did you even get a chance to read Gaara's letter yet? Tsunade asked, changing the subject. Gaara, as in the cage Gaara. You didn't tell me you knew him. Sorry, I didn't think it would come up. I replied, I'll fill you in on it later. And no, not yet, Ba-chan. Why, Baka, I never knew how she does it, but every single time, her hand manages to slip through my defenses and slap me on the back of my head. You were supposed to have read it and given him an answer last week. She sighed. But luckily for you, I already told Gaara that we would be there next week, so while you're off doing God knows what with the other annoying brat, Hanabi and I will be off spending the day together with Temari. You remember her, don't you, Naruto? Yeah, I answered, laughing nervously. The idea of leaving Hanabi alone with both Ba-chan and Temari immediately set off warning bells in my head. Kakashi quietly tapped the table and held up his hands in a prayer. I mentally groaned, both of us males knowing full well what kind of danger it is with leaving your girlfriend with people you're close with. At least tell me Kankuro is going to be there. Like I said, the other brat found something and he's waiting for you to show up before they go accomplish it. Again, warning bells started going off. Maybe it was the past experiences that taught me this lesson, but whenever you start hearing bells, it's time to bail. Then again, I don't think I can make it, Ba-chan. Kakashi might need me for another mission. I shot a hopeful look towards my old sensei, praying that he would understand the message. My eyes started blinking, hoping it would get his attention away from his stupid book.